The lady pressing all the correct buttons to make the sound coming your way, an attractive sound. Catherine Chuchu TV Malika, as well as my producer Andisiwe Fagimaluzobona Mali, and from the rest of the Africa at Play team, thank you for listening. My name is Neto Neto Chemane. Hosiati konyangazi mumkhatshwa phandle kunjani moyani vuguvugu dendele. Africa at Play asdeleli siyashaya. What's coming up on Africa at Play? Let's find out.
Yeah, so Dikembe, outside of basketball and being a true professional, like his impact on me was so big. He's the reason why I went to Darfur and see the living conditions and how bad they were being treated over there.
Even as kids playing, when I say that time, I'm talking about 50, 60 years ago. Most of these players accrued nicknames too.
Not sure whether that rang, a good bell for James as it were, but it stuck, and people would, the fans would call James Peary Ringo.
(14:03 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are together until 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are based in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from anywhere across the globe on channelafrica.co.za. Also available on SABC+. Please do get in touch with us on our different social media platforms. On Instagram and X is at Channel Africa 1, and on Facebook the name of our station, Channel Africa. We've got an exciting topic, and I'm certain if you're a football fan you will love this one. The nicknames in football are very big, especially on the African continent, such as Midnight Express, Helman Mkelele, Dr. Kumalo 16 Valve, John Shoes Moshwewu, and the likes of Vele Night Club, that is Josh Kolala, Keles Millionaire, Tenant Chiluba, Scud Missile, Exen Shimbala, Yuka Godfrey Chitala, Chisampama Dennis Lotta from Zambia, Kalaba David Odiambo from Kenya, the Bull Daniel Amogachi from Nigeria, and many other star players from various parts of the continent. And we're asking a big question today: what are some of your favorite nicknames in football, and what impact did they have in the game? Do drop us a WhatsApp voice note on the number +27 63 406 9126. Let's cross over to Lusaka, Zambia, and find out from our correspondent Namuchana, who's talking to the pundits of football in Zambia about this exact topic. Thank you for choosing Africa at Play. Astelel Siashai.
Nicknames in football are very big on the African continent, such as Midnight Express, Helman Makelele, 16 Valve, Dr. Kumalo, Shoes, John Mosho from South Africa, Very Night Club, George Kolala, Careless Millionaire, Tenant Chilumba, Scud Missile, Axon Shimbala, Godfrey Yuka Chitalo, Chesampama, Dennis Lotta from Zambia, Kalaba, David Odiambo from Kenya, the Bull Daniel Amokachi from Nigeria, and many other stars from African continent. We are asking, what are some of your favorite nicknames in football, and what impact did they have in the game? This is our topic today, and I have with me Mr. Smata, former Football Association of Zambia President. Mr. Smata, thank you so much for having taken time to join us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. We are looking at nicknames in football. We know that they are very big, especially on the African continent. Mr. Smata, what are some of favorite nicknames in football, and what impact did they have on the game of football?
Hey, my friend, this is a very interesting side of football that actually I've never discussed. My first time kind of caught me off guard, but it really excited me to talk about nickname. I think it was also a social culture at that time. Nickname in every area of our lives, even as kids playing. When I say that time, I'm talking about 50, 60 years ago. Most of these players players accrued nicknames too. You know, we were named after a film star. I was named after one of the British, historian, because we had a teacher who taught by nicknames in history. When we learned about Julius Caesar, she named one of us Julius. You know, when we talked about Alexander the Great, she named one of us as Alexander the Great. I won't mention mine because I've tried to kill it. There are one or two friends who still call me by it. In football here, you get a person like Peter Mohango. He played for the city of Lusaka. He also played for the national team. He's one of those few players who played two positions in his football career. He was a fullback, right fullback. He also played as a right winger. Those days we called it 2 and 7. He came with a nickname from his primary school at Bama, named by his sports teacher, King, popularized that city of Lusaka. So that's where the sources of some of the... He had a player in Zambia, goalkeeper, Emmanuel Mwape. He played in the national team. He played for Ron. I think he also played for Rokana. He was called Mannix. And if you remember those days, there was Joe Mannix, a detective kind of movie or series on television. So it was kind of a societal approach to things. However, in football, you know, get many. Let me just go through my list too. You know, we had John Simulambo. Dennis Liwewe called him midfield general. And it stuck with him up to this day. When I go on his Facebook, that name is still there. We had Moses Simwara. He played a right winger for Rokana. He played in the national team. And he was named chairman. And you'll be surprised. That name chairman did not come to him by soccer fan. It came to him by his own fellow players, because when they met with officials or other people like that, he was normally chosen to speak on behalf of the players. So they nicknamed him chairman. You know, we had Sate, Ronald Kampamba. When he's on the pitch, you knew that you're getting paid, you know, or paymaster from Power Dynamos carries Mwaba, similar. But he was named by the late radio broadcaster Isaac Mulinda because he scored crucial goals. You know, you had Libya, John Kalusa, my classmate. At first, we even called him France. He was one of the few chosen to represent Zambia in a Zambia schools outing, but dropped just before they left. So that name died. But later, when he made it into the national team, played one of his best games in Libya, he came back with Libya. And some people actually used to call him that, even when he met him on the street. But his full names were John Kalusa. He had played people like Godfrey Musha, Lebade, you know, Peter Kaumba, Ayalea. When Peter is running on the left wing, he knew very well he's going to put pressure on the goal. And he was actually voted best left foot player on the wing in Africa. But there was the name. You get a player like Jericho Shinde, midfield dynamo, played for Rokana United, now Nkana. He played in the national team, and where he played, once the ball is between his legs, just have to wait for him to lose it. And he was nicknamed the Russian tanker. You get people like Kelvin Mutale from Kafue. Actually, one of the scouts got him out of Kafue and took him to Nkana Football Club. And he later made it in the national team. Tragically died in the Gabon disaster. His nickname was Malaza. And some people have gone on to call him that. You know, Willy Chifita. Which way? Yeah, this is good. It's actually attracting my football enthusiasm. You had great players like Clement Kapengwe playing on the right wing, what we call 7 again, for Quito United. Then he moved to City of Lusaka. But before that, one of the group of first exports of Zambian players, same group with Fred Mwira, Ement, Howard Mwikuta. They went into Europe, they went into America. When Ement came back, he was sponsored by a company that made a skin oil called Vaseline. That nickname stuck. Then he had a goalkeeper, Vincent Chilesh, the cat. I'm sure you've noticed I have deliberately missed out 2 people because those I would like to focus on. But before I do that, there's Dominic Mutale. He played midfield center. He played for Nkana. He has a remarkable history. The year before, he broke both his 2 bones in one of the foot. He recovered from that, went back on the pitch, played for Nkana, made it into the national team. We called him Kavulu. But there are 2 legends of nicknames that I would have liked to close with. Firstly, from Frida, he was actually a basketball player too. He's a man called, he went on to be the national team coach, Samuel Ndlove. We called him Sir. We knighted him. This man playing coming from Freya Wanderers, comes to play the team that I grew up supporting because of my father from about the age of 5, Kitwe United. After that game, those days the children my age or below the age of 12, or what they used to do, they would measure your age by how high you are on the shoulder of the guy at the gate. So the moment you are below the shoulder, you came in free. Us children never used to pay. And that's why we are addicted for most of our life to football. But there was a children's section and there was a cheerleader there. And we were told to come early. Normally we would come about 2 hours before the game for instructions especially, and to learn new songs, good, bad and ugly ones, I must tell you. That day he came in and said, we are playing Freya Wanderers. Now, in our local setting, fee is like ugly. And I want to tell you one thing. There's a player there who puts on, and he mentioned, I think it was shirt number 10 or 11. When he catches the ball, he just keep quiet. You hear me? We all went, yes, sir. You hear me? Yes, sir. So the game started. He's passed the ball. The whole pitch was in one accord, including our parents. And we joined in. So he's busy shouting us down, 300 plus of us. Hey, yo, I tell you what did I tell you? We are all saying zoo. That was the kind of player he was. Loved by opponents and his own team. He was a master dribbler. Slow. He also played basketball, like I said earlier. That was him. And he went on to do great things for this country. In fact, our charity shield in Zambia today is named after him. Then there is the unsung hero, Kamasted. I think it was 1971. He scored 107 goals, more than Messi. That, unfortunately, you cannot change with me. You know why? Because in that particular year, I got a scout badge for being a collector. And what did I collect? Pictures of Godfrey Chitalo. Pictures. And I got a badge. He scored 107 goals in one season in all competitions. But at that particular moment, when he was given a nickname, a company that makes batteries from India, Union Carbide, decided to sponsor Kitwe United. Again, on that particular day, we went early. We found some changes in the ground. Parameter advertising we'd never seen. A billboard just behind where we used to sit. We had never seen. And that billboard had a player with his back to us. You couldn't see the face, but shooting away. And on his back was written 10. We didn't understand what it was all about because the jersey had changed. White shirt, red shorts, red and white socks. And there was a big battery painted next to the picture. And one of the players coming in is Yuka. Number 10. We went, Godfrey Chitalu. And that was a special event. There was radio commentary. Uncle Dennis Riwere was up there. And the moment the two teams came in, Kitwe United was in a new set. They delayed Yuka's coming. So after all the teams had come in, they were warming up. He then ran on the pitch and the choir leader just went, and all of us, one big shout, Yuka! Dennis, commenting that day, told the rest of the country, this was a great man. He played in the national team. We were sore, and I must tell you, very sore when he moved to Cabo Verde. In fact, I only reconciled myself with Cabo Verde very recently. He left a big hole at Kitwe United. He went on to play for the national team. He is the top scorer of Zambia national team. He went on to be a coach for Cabo Verde. He later was appointed assistant coach to chairman Moses Simwana, who unfortunately could not continue because of ill health, and Godfrey took over, assisted by Alex Chola. And the two of them with Godfrey put a team together that was promising. Unfortunately, he was in the Gabon disaster plane crash. So, in every country actually, you will find that in the old days, we did not really identify with the actual player's name. We had to find a name, a nickname for a player. They sounded much easier to cheer. There are other players that I can still remember. There was, I think, Frank Chanda. We called him Cha Cha Cha. Cha 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 was the freedom struggle cry. But in football, he was a very unique player. One who didn't sit on the ball. Other smaller names around that we can keep discussing. But the point is, if you look at South African football, look at Zimbabwean football, the few that I have been able to watch, Malawi, most of their stars, beloved stars, played on the pitch with a nickname. Now it's here, it's not there. Because even the society has changed. At least here in Zambia, the society doesn't spend too much time singing their players. They seem to have employed the small bands, 50, 60 people to do that, whilst everybody sit in the comfort of their stadiums watching the game. I long for that day when the whole stadium would spend most of their time on their feet or whichever position they are sitting, singing the names of their teams. And as the boys passed, especially now with Tika Taka, it would have been fun. Because you would have heard something like Cha-Cha-Cha, Yuka. You know, every player had a name. In fact, like at Quito United, Moses Kabaila was double G as a defender. This is the missing link in the inspiration of our players. When you went to national team, same. It was very easy to cheer the team because you didn't have the time to say, Moses Simora, you just said, Bernard Chanda, Bomba. Made this football easy. Maybe we should return. And before I forget, Godfrey Chitalu's first nickname was Dennis Law.
The views of Mr. Simata, former Football Association of Zambia president. We also sat down with the soccer analyst Musonda Chibolo to get his views on our topic today.
Namuchana, this week's topic is very interesting when it comes to the nicknames that are given to footballers, men and women that kick the inflated leather ball by fans. And these names, the nicknames, reflect the character of the player or the personality, sometimes achievements, or just their style of play. And this is a very light, moment sort of thing that happens, and eventually these names stick. For example, talk about John Lesiba, Mosheo. Not many people would actually know if you said that name like that, unless you said Shoes Mosheo. And immediately many South African fan would identify with this particular, player. Obviously, around the continent, there have been some very exciting players that have been known by their nicknames rather than their given names at birth. You look around the continent, the likes of Austin JJ Okocha or Mido and so on. Here in Zambia, we have a rich history in terms of the genesis of some of the names that players have had. You can go back into history. Zambia's most prolific scorer and probably one of the African continent's most prolific goal scorer, Godfrey Chitalu, had a name in the middle, which was a nickname or starting his name, Yuka Godfrey Chitalu. Today in Zambia, when you say Yuka Godfrey Chitalu, Yuka sounds more or less like a name that was given to the 107 goal scorer in the 1972 calendar season. And yet Yuka was coined by the late soccer commentator Dennis Luwewe because of the prolific nature of Godfrey Chitalu in scoring goals both for his Cabo Warriors or the Zambia national soccer team. And so you got to have Yuka, which was basically a brand of batteries that were used in radios, and they were quite strong at the time, and this resonated very well with the commentator Dennis Luwewe to nickname Godfrey Chitalu as Yuka because of the strength that he had in front of goal. So you can see that from the very off in Zambian football, you had these nicknames coming up. Yuka Godfrey Chitalu's teammate at Cabo Warriors was the late Boniface Simutowe. Now, there's a myth that when Boniface Simutowe was playing and the game was very tough, he would shout to a defender and say, "Hey, haven't you heard that the referee has blown the whistle?" And some unsuspecting defender would pick the ball out of confusion, and then they would have a penalty given against the defender's team, and then Simutowe would step up to score, and he was then called Chitapochimo, more or less like do something. So it would be Boniface Chitapochimo Simutowe as a nickname, because then he would con defenders into making these committing these atrocities, if you like, that would give away sport kicks or penalties, as it were. But then also later on there was another player by the name of Moses from Ghana Football Club, and is the one that helped the record, League Kings in Zambia win, I think 7 titles as coach. He was simply called chairman. Now, it was because the players looked up to him for leadership on the pitch, and he had so much respect when he played his club football from Ghana Football Club. Also, obviously featured, for Zambia as a winger in the 70s, the late Moses chairman, Simwala. So he got his name as a result of his leadership and authority on the pitch. Now, we've had also certain players that have gotten nicknames just out of their own names, which have been shortened, and these would come about as chants by fans. The great Kalusha Bwalia, for example, was known here as Lucia. They would say Lucia, and whenever there was a free kick in the danger area, in the danger zones, the fans would chant Lucia, Lucia, Lucia. And so you got young players who were budding and promising, who would be called Lucia after the great Kalusha Bwalia. And I know one gentleman that I went to school with, we played schools football with. He played his club football for Zanaco. Before that, he was groomed by Lusaka Tigers and was known as Chanda Lucia Mwape. And he went on to play his club football in Belgium, and then ended his career in Angola, and is a football coach down here in Zambia. And for many, many years, he was known as Lucia after the great, Kalusha Bwalia, the 1988 African Footballer of the Year. But then his playing style was similar, and he wore the jazz number 11 that was popularized by Kalusha, Chanda Mwape. So you've had, players that have gotten nicknames because of their playing styles, being similar to other great players that had made a name, before them. Obviously, in the Zambian perspective, we did have Collins Mbesuma at the height of his career, in South Africa for Kaizer Chiefs in the mid-1990s, when he broke all sorts of records. In the 2000s, I beg your pardon, mid-2000s, and he broke all sorts of records in the Professional Soccer League in South Africa. And you got the press here in Zambia begin to speak about him as a hurricane because of all hurricane and not hurricane. Hurricane because of his goal scoring prowess. But then also in South Africa, they used to have a nickname for him, which was known as Ntofo, soft. Maybe his goals were so soft. He wasn't so much of a physical player. He was a nimble-footed, and very, very skillful player, and got some of his goals in a very, very skillful way. And as a result of that, you had Collins Mbesuma Ntofo, and then we also had, before him, a guy called Dennis Lotter. May he so rest in peace again, used to score goals for fun. He had a crack of a shot, and it was more or less like a hot slap, and he got his nickname Chesampama. So Dennis Chesampama Lotter, as a result of his prolific hot shots. And then here in Zambia, there's one interesting one, the late goalkeeper, James Piri, who came to the fore during the 1994 Africa Cup of Nations. After the Gabon disaster of 1993, April, Zambia rebuilt very quickly, and there was one goalkeeper who every Zambian felt was going to come and keep goal for Zambia. Was a man called Shadrack Biemba, who was based in South Africa at the time, around 1993 and 94. But then suddenly, the new coach of the national soccer team, Rod Posen, and a passe of other, local coaches that had assembled the team, suddenly discovered the gem in James Piri. Now, when James Piri was coming to the fore, there was a haste, there was a robbery that was done by a guy called Ringo Piri. Now, for some reason, the fans just began to call, because obviously they didn't know when he came to the fore, James, nobody knew much about him. He was coming from Zanaco Football Club, but nobody had known about him prior to him joining up the Zambia national soccer team and helping Zambia finish second at the Africa Cup of Nations in Tunisia in 1994, after rising like a phoenix from the ashes of the Gabon disaster. And so the fans, just out of fun, they decided that James Piri was going to be called James Ringo Piri. Now, I'm not sure whether that rang, a good bell for James, as it were, but it stuck, and people would, the fans would call James Piri Ringo. So there've been some very, very exciting, nicknames. Some of them, like I said, out of the way a player played. The late Gabon disaster, hero coach Alex Chola, when he was playing, was called the Computer because of the way he played his football. But on that team that perished off the coast of Gabon for the Zambian KK11, there was another boy by the name of Timothy Mwitwa, and he too was called Computer because he was very quick with his feet and played similarly like Alex Chola. But also for Computer Mwitwa, he also had another nickname, Teacher, because sometimes he scored lots of goals and so much respect. I remember Moscow encounter where Cabo Warriors, his club, then came from behind to beat Red Arrows by 7-1, and Mwitwa contributed 4 goals in that particular game. There was another one again against Konkola Blades. They won by 6-1. He contributed again another 4 goals, and so he was revered as a teacher, of football. So it was like that. And then on that same Gabon disaster, fated 18 creme de la creme Zambian footballers that perished off the coast of Gabon en route for that World Cup qualifier against Senegal. There was a boy called Patrick Bomba Banda. He was simply amazing, and Bomba was because he could speed past his opponents like a bomb, like a bomba sort of jet, fighter, and he got that name Patrick, Bomba Banda as a result. And there were other players like Axon Scad Mizao Shimbala, Scad Mizao, because his shot was very hot, and if it flew past the goalkeeper into the back of the net, almost ripping the back of the net, and so the fans would call him Scad Mizao, Axon Scad Mizao, Shimbala. So there were nicknames like that. There still are nicknames. I was, talking about a computer again. Enoch Mwepu, the medically retired Zambia national soccer team captain, winner of the 2017 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, was playing his club football at Brighton. Now he had these nice touches on the ball, quick, calculated, and the fans began to call him, computer, and he became Enoch Computer Mwepu. So there are these nicknames that come about, as a result of the way a player plays. Sometimes it's a player's own name. For example, Patson Daka, who plays his club football for Leicester City in England, the fans here would call him Papa. Basically, it's a short for Patson. So just Papa, and then they'll say Patson, Papa, Daka, and stuff like that. So very, very interesting in terms of these nicknames for our football players, particularly here in Zambia, as I've been able to demonstrate. There was one funny one. He's now a coach, part of the 1994 Nations Cup, squad, played in there. He was, Tenan Chilumba, and after that, they were rewarded with, I think, 10,000 Zambian kwacha, was a lot of money, 1994, by the Zambian government, and he bought a vehicle which crashed. And from that particular moment, the Zambian fans used to call him Careless Millionaire. So probably this one would not sit too well with the player himself, but the fans decided that they were gonna call him, like that. So very, very interesting when it comes to nicknames here in Zambia, insofar as Zambian footballers are concerned. I remember in the 1982 squad, there was a player called John Libya Kalusa. He played the blinder of a tournament in Libya, where Zambia finished third, and from then on, the fans would call him John Libya Kalusa. That resonates, for example, with one player who played for Zesco United here from Kenya, David Owino Odhiambo. He was known as Calabar because he played for Kenya and played against Nigeria, played a very, very good game in Calabar, Nigeria, and from that moment, they began to call David Owino Odhiambo as Calabar. The Kenyans and also the Zambian fans here picked it up when he played for Zesco United, and later Lusaka Dynamos would call him Calabar. So yeah, there it goes in terms of these nicknames, and the players' fondness sometimes, sometimes mischievous, coining by fans, but mostly the nicknames are to reflect the style of play, the character, the personality, and sometimes just a way of celebrating a particular player.
The views of Musonda Chivolo, soccer analyst, on our topic today, and today we're looking at something special. We're looking at nicknames in football. We know that nicknames in football are very big, especially on the African continent, such as Midnight Express, Hellman Makelele, 16 Valve, Dr. Kumalon, Shoes, John Mosho from South Africa, Valley Night Club, George Kolala, Careless Millionaire, Tenant Chilumba, Scad Misa, Axon Shimbala, Godfrey Yuka Chitalo, Chesam Pama, Dennis Lota from Zambia, David Owino Odhiambo, Calabar from Kenya, The Bull, Daniel Amokache from Nigeria, and the many other players from the various parts of the continent. We were asking what are some of your favorite nicknames in football and what impact did they have in the game. We had the former Football Association of Zambia President Mr. Simata on our program today, and the renowned soccer analyst Musonda Chivolo for Channel Africa Sports. Namchana from Zambia.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África @ newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Hey guys, question. Have you thought about what happens between 9 o'clock until midday, Saturday and Sunday? Well, it's me. Those that know me call me the fun police, and I'm that girl, that voice on your radio. My name is Pule Mulebati. I'm all about the finer things in life. Where to go, what to wear, who to see, and ultimately what to do. We aspire to bring you the best in travel, entertainment, with a dash or maybe a dose of laughter. And then of course we switch things up a bit when we look at technology. I love what's happening with AI because you blink, something new pops up. So the challenge is constantly there. I'm learning every single time on the show. So catch me every single Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. until 12 midday Central African Time, Baba.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:31 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are based in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from anywhere across the globe on channelafrica.co.za. Also available on SABC+. A big thank you for choosing Africa's number one, Africa at Play, as Deleli Siashaya. Congratulations to the Proteas for history made at Lords as South Africa triumph in the WTC 2025 final, beating Australia by 5 wickets. There's always been talks about the Proteas choking and freezing when it matters most, but today it was a different run where they've shown the world what they're capable of. And we also say big ups to the Aussies for making it to that big stage. 14:32 Central African Time. We are getting into the world of boxing, where we will be talking to one of the great boxers in South Africa, Phumelela Kafu, who will be heading to Texas in the United States together with his manager Colin Nomakanjani Nathan. World Boxing Organization WBO champion Phumelela Kafu, Phumelela the Truth Kafu, can't contain his excitement in envisioning how bright his future will be should he win the World Boxing Council WBC belt from José Palma Rodriguez on the 19th of July 2025. The winner of that fight will also take home the Ring Magazine belt. This money spinning fight will be organized by Matchroom of promoter Eddie Hearn at the Star Frisco in Dallas, Texas, in the United States. Win or lose, Kafu will be richly remunerated. His estimated paycheck is an 8-figure purse. Rodriguez is an American who is known for his aggressive fighting style. Undefeated after 21 fights with 14 knockouts, he is quoted as saying he wants to become the pound-for-pound number one fighter in the sport, and he believes that starts by winning his unification showdown against Kafu. Let's welcome Phumelela Kafu to this conversation to find out if he's going to let that happen. Phumelela, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Good afternoon, Khotman, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Before we even get to this upcoming big fight in your career, you've been in the game, but let's take it a step back to Phumelela Kafu as a young man. When did it all begin? What drew your attention to the sport of boxing?
I started boxing at a very young age. So my father was a boxer. So whenever I used to go to the gym, I used to go with them. At that time, I was around 2 years old. I was so young. So I used to go with them a lot to the gym. Then I started to grow a bit older, around 6, 7 years old. Fell in love with the sport, and I started boxing. I think I made my amateur debut around those years. So that's how I started boxing.
And looking at the journey that you've had in the sport of boxing, how do you look back to this journey? Are you happy with what the journey has put out there, or you still believe there's a lot that you still want to achieve?
I won't lie, I'm really happy with how everything has been going. To be honest with you, I never thought I'd make it this far. So credit to the men above, man. So yeah, I feel like there's still a lot to accomplish, but also I'm kind of grateful about where I'm at right now. So yeah, man, because I never thought I'd make it this far. So it's kind of crazy to say that in a few weeks I'll be fighting for a unification bout.
And today we were talking about nicknames in football, and it just triggered my mind that it's not just in football, but even in boxing. Your nickname is The Truth. Talk to us about how it came about.
I took the name from one of my role models, Errol the Truth Spencer. He's currently an American boxer. He's also from Texas. I took the real name from him. I remember watching his fight against Kelly Brook. The thing is, I knew who Caleb Brook was, but I never knew who Errol Spence was. So as I was watching the fight, and I was like, oh, who's this dude dominating Caleb Brook like this? So from there on, I fell in love with him, started to follow him, and that's when I realized that he has great character inside and outside the ring. So like I was really invested in him, kind of liked him a lot. So I took the ring name. The truth. So, and I remember someone asked me, do I know what the pressure, what this name brings, the pressure it brings, and all. I was like, yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for the pressure. I'm ready for everything because I believe I am the truth, and I believe I could be one of the creators. So here we are.
If you have just joined us, we are talking to a boxer from South Africa who will be heading to Texas for a big fight, and his name is Phumelela the Truth Kafu. And of course, this fight will be taking place on the 19th of July against Jose Rodriguez. Phumelela, let's talk about this fight, this upcoming unification bout that is coming up on the 19th of July. Are you ready, or how much time do you still need to finally be ready in terms of final touch-ups?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm ready, but we're still finalizing our preparations. So I feel like we've got 4 weeks to go, so we want to make the best out of it. So apart from that, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I'm fit, so yeah, but I still want to be more fitter than I am right now because this is really a huge fight. So yeah, man, me and my team are working on it, making sure that day I pull up 100% ready. So yeah, that's what we're working on. Otherwise, apart from that, I'm ready for the fight.
And how well do you know your opponent, Jose Rodriguez?
I won't say too well, but I do know him. I've been watching him before it was announced that I'm going to fight him. I've been watching him. He's a very good boxer. He's got everything. But like I've been saying, nobody's unbeatable. And on the 19th of July, I'm going to prove it that nobody's unbeatable.
Nobody's unbeatable. Those are the words of Phumelela the Truth Kafu, who will be heading to Texas for a big fight against Jose Rodriguez for the WBC, that is a World Boxing Council belt. It is a massive one indeed. Let's also bring into the conversation Noma Kanjani, Colin Nathan, a man who is no stranger to Africa at Play, who is a boxing trainer and a manager. Colin, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Yeah, good afternoon to you and the listeners, and thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for joining us. Before we even get to this upcoming unification bout that the Truth will be in the ring for, let's talk about Hotbox Gym. How are things happening there?
Yeah, obviously going very well. It's been a very fast-paced to the first half of the year. We've had a lot of shows, a lot of tournaments, and obviously now we getting ready for the big one on the 19th of July for Phumelela Bam. So looking very forward to that fight. And obviously there's always activity going on through my doors in the gym. We've signed a number of fighters to my company. We've got about 30 fighters on our roster. And we're doing really well. We're very, very busy. And I'm obviously very blessed to be in this position.
The last time you spoke to the Truth about this upcoming fight, what did you say to him?
Well, the thing is that we were actually geared up to do a homecoming defense. And what happened was we had an opponent lined up. We made the announcement that there'd be a homecoming, and then obviously this fight was offered to us. And then when the fight was offered to us, I mean, we couldn't turn it down. You know, also, the other thing I wanted to say, don't always believe everything you read. I mean, the 8-figure payday, I don't know where this comes from, to be honest. But it is what it is. I mean, Phumelela is getting paid handsomely. When there's speculation around the figures of what the athlete's going to be earning, it's just, I kind of shake my head and just roll my eyes and kind of smile. But when the fight was offered to us, we couldn't turn it down. I mean, it was, pretty much for all the marbles, excluding 2 of the belts. But this guy is regarded as the pound-for-pound number 1 guy in the division. So obviously it was like, do we do a homecoming? Or do we go for the massive pot of gold? And that's when the WBC title, and obviously bring on the Ring Magazine belt. And for us, it was a no-brainer. I couldn't tell Phumelela from the onset because there was a lot of negotiations going on. And when the time was close on us getting presented an agreement, I sat Phumelela down and said, listen, son, there's been a massive change of direction. We're not doing a homecoming. We are now going, like I said, for the biggest prize in the division and for one of the biggest prizes, pound for pound, in the top 10 in the world, and that's Bam Rodriguez.
That's the voice of Colin Nomaganjani Nathan, a boxing trainer and manager who is also the owner of Hot Gym Boxing Club. We take a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues under the umbrella of boxing in Africa. We also have Phumelela, the Truth Kafu, who is the boxer that will be sharing the ring on the 19th of July with Jose Bam Rodriguez in Texas, in the United States of America. The continuation of this conversation after the short break.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badea, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, he is vying for the presidency of the African Development Bank, the AFDB. He positions himself as a fervent defender of economic integration and structural transformation on the African continent.
Well, I do believe that I have a 360 view of the development challenges in the continent with my experience from both the supply side and the demand side. But more importantly, my vision is to bring on board all the stakeholders and to have a holistic approach for the development of the continent and to develop partnership across the continent and outside the continent, bringing all the stakeholders together to work for one goal is to make Africa green for life and livelihood of the African population.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e João Yabalá.
O surto da cólera em Angola tem causado grande preocupação, afetando já mais de metade das províncias do país. Simultaneamente, a Agência dos Estados Unidos para o Desenvolvimento Internacional, USAID, um dos maiores doadores mundiais de assistência humanitária, decidiu não priorizar os países com maior incidência de malária. Para discutirmos as causas do alastramento da cólera em Angola e os impactos dessa decisão da USAID, convidamos o Dr. Jeremias Agostinho, médico e mestre em saúde pública, para partilhar a sua visão sobre o tema.
A doença, nesse momento, representa o maior risco de saúde pública que nós temos. Nos últimos anos, a nossa preocupação esteve sempre centrado com os casos de malária, os casos de tuberculose e também de infecção por VIH-Sida. A forma como, em pouco menos de 2 meses, os casos de cólera vêm aumentando, acaba por representar, nessa altura, um dos maiores desafios que o país tem. É expectável que, nesta fase, o número de casos venha a aumentar.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio do Canal África.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:43 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are here in South Africa. Alternatively, you can access us from anywhere you are on channelafrica.co.za, also available on SABC+. Thank you for choosing Africa's #1 Africa at Play. As Delili Siashaya, we still have a great boxing gentleman, Phumelela, the Truth Kafu, a boxer from South Africa who will be heading to the United States of America for a big fight against Jose Bam Rodriguez on the 19th of July. And we've got Colin Nomaganjani Nathan, a boxing trainer and manager. Let's bring back the boxer to this conversation. The Truth, it is a big fight that you are faced with. What will victory in this fight mean for the Truth?
Obviously, we're going out there to win, and me winning this fight will make me one of the greatest boxers in South Africa, and I believe me winning this fight will put me on the South African Hall of Fame. So that's the goal, man. I want to be one of the greatest boxers in the country.
How is it working with Colin Nomaganjani Nathan?
What amazing! It's really amazing. You know, don't get me wrong. With me joining him, was a good boxer. So what it did, it just like sharpened up my skills, making sure my timing is in point, making sure I know how to calculate my distance, I know when to throw punches, I know how to put combinations, and I know when to counter. So those are the things that I could do, but I couldn't do as good that I'm doing right now. So he really did a good job with me. So I'm really grateful to him.
Incredible indeed. And let's talk about a scenario where you come across an opposition who is an aggressive fighter. How do you tackle an opposition like that?
One thing about me is that I'm a boxer and I'm also a puncher. So and it's going to depend on the ring. But me and my team has a game plan, and I'm willing to stick to the game plan. But I believe I've got more power than Ben Rodriguez. If he's going to come into the ring underestimating me, that will be a short night. So I feel like if he brings in his A game, it's going to be a really good fight. And I know I could beat him, and I want to beat him at his A game, knowing that whenever like people talk about that fight, they say that I beat the best version of Ben Rodriguez. So that's the goal, man, is to go out there and upset the world.
That's the voice of Phumelela the Truth Kafu, a South African boxer heading to the United States for a big unification bout against Joseph Rodriguez. And we also have Colin Nomakanjani Nathan. Colin, how is it working with the Truth?
You know, I started communicating with Phumelela before he even joined me. We were just chatting. We were friends on socials, and we DM each other from time to time. And then obviously we started working together, and he joined my company and obviously trained under my guidance. And it's just been an absolute pleasure. He's really, really an amazing kid. Trains hard, works hard, great work ethic, listens. And he's also got an amazing story. I mean, you know, that's what boxing is. You know, we can't take away the violent nature of what we do and the brutality of the sport. But I think more now than ever before is what sells our sport are the stories of the fighters. And Phumelela's story is just fantastic. You know, he loves his mother. He wants to buy his mother a house or apartment. He gets to fulfill that dream after July 19th. I believe he's got the ability and the talent and the technique to actually cause a massive upset on the 19th, to become not just an African star, but a global star for world boxing, and really become a crossover sportsman here in South Africa. You know, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this to you, and I've never been shy to say this. I feel that our sport needs to be marketed more. I feel that more needs to be done. I feel that, you know, there's new positive changes with boxing South Africa. We've seen the new ball coming in. We've just heard the announcement yesterday that Cholofelo Lajaka is now not acting CEO of Boxing South Africa. He is now the CEO of Boxing South Africa. I believe he's going to have a great leadership under the new boxing board and for Boxing South Africa. But I just think that the world of Phumelela, like I get your question, sorry, and I'm running off. But he's just an amazing kid, and he's a great kid to be around with, not only in my boxing professional space, but in my personal space as well as a human being.
Are we looking for a distant or knockout?
You know what? It's a very good question. All I'm focused on right now is the game plan, tapering the game plan, getting Phumelela ready, and all I'm focused on is one thing and one thing only, and that's to win. How I win, or how we win, I really couldn't care. All I care about is us winning, and there's that prize at the end of the tunnel. There's that light at the end of the tunnel, and we are chasing that light. It doesn't matter how we get there, as long as we get there. What do they say? It's not about the destination. It's about how you get. It's not about how you get to the destination. It's the destination, and our destination is to win.
Nomakanjani, as we wrap up this conversation, we're talking a day of champions today because of the Proteas in cricket. They are the World Test Championship 2025 champions after beating Australia by 5 wickets. And I'm currently talking to you as the champion trainer and manager together with Phumelela the Truth Kafu as champions. How important is it for South African athletes to to do well in various competitions and not just be about a certain sporting code. Like you've rightfully highlighted, that the sport of boxing in South Africa needs to be marketed even more. And I'm thinking when there's victory of champions like Phumelela and yourself, that is also contributing towards the right step of taking boxing to another level.
Thank you very much for that compliment. So I've always said that sport unites and breaks boundaries, and congratulations to the Proteas. Don't know much about cricket, but I do know that we've done well and we've won, because it's obviously hit socials, and it's just a proud moment for South Africa and South African sports. And I think sports has a way of not only bridging the gap, but creating a situation where people actually have an emotional vested interest. And I think each and in every sport in this country, people should have a vested interest in, specifically when it comes to South African sports. And I just think that sports unites. We need to remember that, and a big congratulations to the South African cricket team.
Colin Nomakanjani Nathan talking to us on Africa at Play. Nomakanjani, always an awesome pleasure. Thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play.
Thank you so much for your time. Very grateful for the opportunity.
Let's also wrap up this conversation with Phumelela the Truth Kafu, who will be heading to the United States of America for a big unification bout against Josep Rodriguez on the 19th of July 2025. The Truth, Nomakanjani raised something important to say the sport of boxing needs to be marketed even more. In an event that someone from the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, including the Minister of Sport, Minister Gayton McKenzie, are listening to this conversation, what would you like to say to them so that they can also give a real percentage of attention to the sport of boxing to be elevated to the level it deserves in South Africa?
I feel like the sports needs to be marketed a bit more so that boxers could have sponsors. Also, they should try to make sure each and every boxing event is broadcasted. I feel like that's what we need as boxers, to be like well known. You know, there's some up and coming good boxers, but not a lot of people do know them because they don't get a chance to watch them. The only boxer that they get to watch are the boxers on SuperSport. So sometimes other promotions can't reach the requirements to stage a tournament out of SuperSport. So I think probably like SABC should try and come back, because I remember growing up we used to watch mostly on Fridays boxing. So I feel like that needs to come back also, so that boxers can be recognized and be well known. And also boxers, man, should try and also try and market themselves on socials, you know, because that's where most people are on socials. So yeah, man, as the days keep on going, people will recognize you. And also if broadcasting could come back, that would really make a change in our sport of boxing.
What would you like to say to South Africans and Africans across the African continent to support you on the 19th of July so that you can come back to Africa with the World Boxing Council WBC belt?
Firstly, man, I'd like to thank my team, No Doubt Management, which is Colin Nathan, Boxing 5 Promotion, Larry Wingstein, and Pro Gear Manager, which is Reyes Biats. So those are the people that I'm working with, and they're making sure like everything is good. And also Power to Health, one of my sponsors, and to the South African people and people all around Africa, man, is that you all guys should put me on your prayers. I'm going to a huge fight, and I know it's not going to be easy, but I feel like if people would support me and open their hearts for me to win, I'll definitely come back with the victory card, because there's nothing bigger than God, and with God you can do anything. So yeah, man, I'm going to America to win, and I promise my fans and my family that on the 19th I'll be crowned the new WBC, WBO, and Real Magazine World Champion.
There you have it from the champion himself, Phumelela the Truth Kafu, who will be heading to the United States of America for a big unification bout against Josep Rodriguez on the 19th of July. And he's urging all South Africans and Africans to rally behind him so that he can come back the global champion that he is. Phumelela, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. Nothing but the best from the Africa at Play family. All the best.
Thank you too for having me, sir.
14:55 Central African Time. That's how we wrap up our boxing conversation with Pumelela the Truth Kafu. We also had Colin Nomakanjani Nathan from No Doubt Management, who is also the founder and owner of Hotbox Gymming Club. It's time for a short break. When we come back, we will be playing back those voice notes from those that have shared their thoughts with us on our topic of the day. And of course, there is a musical journey where we will be listening to Kelvin Momo and Sykes saying Ndawana. This is Africa at Play as Telel Siashaya.
You heard something you like on Channel Africa and you would like to hear it again? Worry not, we've got your back. Just go to our website www.channelafrica.co.za and look for our podcast. Ngubane Talks Money, Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepu Kholikweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Ngubeni Talks Money, Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepu Kholikweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Ngubeni Talks Money, Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa is Channel Africa, the African perspective. World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some Lucifer knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day.
You're tuned in to Africa at Play. This song is titled Holiday, a song by Rema, whose real name is Divine Ikubo, a Nigerian singer, rapper, and songwriter. He was born in Benin City, Edo State in Nigeria.
Exclusive to Africa at Play on Channel Africa. Teenagers in Sports with Neto Chemane.
If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play, the continent's best sport and music destination. We now welcome to Africa at Play our teenagers in sport who are tennis sensations Karabo Mashele and Buisekhan Dlamini that will be talking to us on Africa at Play. Should you miss out on any of our conversations, please worry not. Visit our Channel Africa website, click on programs and search for Africa at Play. At the bottom right screen of Africa at Play, you can click on more to access all those conversations, and by all means you can listen to them at your time of leisure. Please do get in touch with us on our different social media platforms. On Instagram and X is at Channel Africa 1 and Facebook is Channel Africa, the name of our station. 15:03 Central African Time. We are connecting to our teenagers in sport, and while we're still busy with that, let's take you to West Africa in Nigeria, where our legendary correspondent Tony Robani is standing by to bring us up to speed with regards to the latest in Nigerian sport. Thank you for listening.
As the sporting world counts down to the 2026 World Cup with 1 year from now, despite Nigeria's precarious position in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, Super Eagles assistant manager Fidelity Lechuku remains confident that the team will secure a spot at the global tournament. Speaking with determination, Ilechuku acknowledged the tough road ahead, but insisted that qualification is still achievable. He urged Nigerians both at home and in diaspora to rally behind the national team as they push through the remaining matches. Quoting him, he says, "The most we can't afford to miss the World Cup," he said. "Important thing now is we need Nigerians both at home and abroad to support the Super Eagles to make sure that at the end of the day, we are going to get the ticket." While public opinion has grown increasingly doubtful following recent results, Ilechuku maintains a positive outlook. "I know it looks impossible to some, but for those of us working closely with the team, it is very possible. I know we are going to qualify," he added. With 4 qualifiers left to play, the Super Eagles will need a near-perfect run to revive their World Cup hopes. But Ilechuku's message is clear. Belief, unity and support can still turn the tide. Fidelis Ilechukwu speaks.
Miss World Cup, most important now, we need Nigerians, both home and abroad, to support Super Eagles, to make sure at the end of the day we are going to get the ticket. I know it looked impossible, but to us that are working there, it's very, very possible. I know we are going to qualify.
Former Nigerian international Mobi Oparako has appealed to Nigerians not to crucify Super Eagles striker Victor Boniface over his comment that he has retired from the senior national team, the Super Eagles. Record that shortly after the international friendly with Russia last week, the Bayer Leverkusen star, via his social media handle, hinted at retiring from the Super Eagles. Although Boniface deleted the post hours after, fans have continued to make it a topic of discourse. He said on Instagram, "Proud to play for my country and a dream also. Really enjoyed every moment, good and the bad. Thank you all." The Bayer Leverkusen striker led the Super Eagles attack against Russia in a friendly in Moscow. He again failed to score, and instead, his replacement, Tolu Arokodare, went on to draw Nigeria level. Reacting to the development, Oparako stated that Boniface is always committed to the team. It has been a long season. Most players are already mentally fatigued and just want to go on break. He's a good player who has simply struggled to find his best form with the Super Eagles. But Boniface is not a player who doesn't show heart on the pitch, the ex-Enyimba international defender said. Mobi Oparako speaks.
Our decision has ended, so everybody's mind is somewhere. Towards the end of the season, people start thinking otherwise. People start reading different, especially footballers, because there's a lot of things they do so fast before the new season commences. So it's crazy when people keep complaining about the form of players are going down and this and that. They even behave like every other person. So it's bound to happen sometimes. So we can kill them because of it.
Tolu Arokodare is indeed very happy with his performance for both KRS Genk and the Nigerian national team, the Super Eagles. He has expressed gratitude for being called up to the Super Eagles, especially after a strong season with Genk, including being the Belgian League's top scorer. He also feels blessed and grateful for the opportunity to represent Nigeria. Arokodare scored the equalizer for the Super Eagles in the 1-1 draw against Russia at the Luzhniki Stadium, Moscow. The 24-year-old took to social media to celebrate the goal. First international goal, the journey has only just started. We thank God, he wrote on his X account. He has made 5 appearances for Super Eagles. Tolu Arokodare speaks.
Great year for me so far and a great season, and I don't think it could have been any better. And ending it with a goal for myself, it was the perfect ending. Cheers. And from also my teammates, on the national team, because they've been very supportive. They've been helping me adapt properly, and I think I'm starting to get a hold of everything and starting to feel like, okay, this is where I belong. And hopefully I keep performing and keep getting called up. So season, it's been a very long season. I think I played every game this season, or I think that I missed just 1 or 2. So first off, I'm very grateful to God for starting and ending the season without any serious injuries and finishing top scorer in my league. Unluckily for me and my teammates, we didn't end up winning the trophy, the league, but it is what it is. We move on.
Former Super Eagles coach Sunday Olise believes African teams have what it takes to challenge the best teams in the world. Olise made this known on the backdrop of Senegal's 3-1 victory over England's 3 Lions in an international friendly game. The 1994 AFCON winner, via his official X handle, noted that African teams have no reason to fear any team in the world anymore. The introduction of the European Nations League eliminated almost all possible international friendly matches windows. That, in my opinion, is the only reason teams like England do not get beaten often by African teams. The gap is no longer that significant. Unlike in the 80s, Africa has no reason to fear any team in the world anymore. Senegal, ranked 19th in the world, became the first African team to beat England in 22 games. Nigeria Super Falcons were non-movers as they maintained 36th position in the latest FIFA Women's World Ranking. The latest ranking was released on the website of the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA. The Super Falcons, however, remain number 1 in Africa. While the USA continue to lead the way 3 months on, there has been plenty of movement for further down the standings. Indeed, the gap at the top has narrowed, with Spain second and Germany third, heaping the pressure on the Americans. Both have gone unbeaten since the last update, while a 2-1 loss at home to Brazil, fourth up in April, means that the star-studded squad coached by Emma Hayes can see the European pay looming ever larger in their rear view window. England complete the top 5 just ahead of Sweden 6. Below them, Japan and Canada have also felt the after effects of defeats by South American oppositions. The next edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup ranking will be published on 7th August 2025. Last week, Tuesday, the Super Falcons defeated Cameroon 2-0 in an international friendly game in Abeokuta, Ogun State. First half brace from Rasheedat Ajibade sealed the win for the coach Justin Madugu's side. They will also take on Portugal in another international friendly game billed for Monday, June 23. The friendly encounters are part of preparations for the Falcons for this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON. The Falcons are in the same group with Tunisia, Algeria, and Botswana at this year's WAFCON. And of course, we move to basketball to tell you that Rivers Hoopers head coach Ogo Daudu, whose dream of leading the Nigerian champions to their first Basketball Africa League BAL title this year was shattered by Rwanda's APR in the quarterfinals, has blamed the country's inactive league for his team's failure. The Kingsmen fell one step short of repeating last season's heroic run to the BAL semifinals as they lost their quarterfinal game 104-73 to APR, their largest loss margin at the championship. Reflecting on the loss, Odaudu said his players were rusty while highlighting the importance of regular domestic competitions as the Kingsmen look to regroup and return to Africa's elite competition. One major problem that we are facing is that we played against US Monastir, who just came off their championship game. They lost, but they have been playing for a long time. We played against APR, who are still in the thick of their league. Rivers Hoopers have not played competitively since Morocco. It's one of the problems that we have too. We hope the Nigeria Basketball Federation will change this domestic league format, and then we are going to arrive at the BAL playing and not just coming to try to get into game shape while we are at the tournament. Odaudu also acknowledged that too many things went wrong in Pretoria, South Africa, with his side. It looked like it wasn't going to be Rivers Hoopers' night, as early in the game as the first quarter, where APR doubled the Kingsmen points, leading 24-11. Defending his team's performance, Odaudu said, "What's changed is that we are no longer playing in the semi-finals. We have been knocked out, but on a general note, I think we had a real bad day today. We didn't play as well as we thought we could play, and it happens in basketball. We are not upset. We may be disappointed, but we are holding our heads high. Too many things went wrong." Oga Daudu speaks.
Roster, and that's something we're going to work towards. We played against the US Monastir, who just came off their championship game. Yeah, they lost, but they've been playing for a long time. APR, who is still in the thick of the league. Rivers Hoopers have not played competitively since Morocco. So it's one of the problems that we have too. So we hope the Nigerian Federation is going to change all this, and then we're actually going to.
And before we go, let's tell you that Aliu Zubairu has stepped down from his position as head coach of Nigeria Premier Football League MPFS side El Kanemi Warriors. Zubairu had been in charge of the Maiduguri-based club for 2 years. The young tactician masterminded El Kanemi Warriors' promotion to the Nigeria National League NNL in his first season at the helm. He also guided the club to victory in the present Federation Cup last year. After careful consideration, I've decided not to renew my contract, which expires at the end of my 2-year tenure, he declared. This decision stems from my confidence that I've made a meaningful contribution to the club's growth and development. Zubairu will now focus on his role with the Flying Eagles. The Flying Eagles secured third place at the 2025 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Egypt last month. They are set to compete at the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile later this year. And that's the size of Sports Roundup in Nigeria. For Channel Africa Sports, Tony Ubane reporting.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badea, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, he is vying for the presidency of the African Development Bank, the AFDB. He positions himself as a fervent defender of economic integration and structural transformation on the African continent.
So I do believe that I have a 360 view of the development challenges in the continent with my experience from both the supply side and the demand side. But more importantly, my vision is to bring on board all the stakeholders and to have a holistic approach for the development of the continent and to develop partnership across the continent and outside the continent, bringing all the stakeholders together to work for one goal is to make Africa great for life and livelihood of the African population.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Vue d'Afrique avec Joël Mouteba.
Alors peut-on considérer cette décision comme un désengagement durable des États-Unis vis-à-vis du développement africain ou s'agit-il d'un simple réalignement stratégique?
Bon, ça peut être les deux à la fois. Donc, au lieu de donner de l'argent à la Banque africaine de développement pour partager en vrac, ils préfèrent maintenant donc cibler les pays partenaires en Afrique. Ça, c'est pour le réalignement stratégique. Alors, et aussi, ce n'est pas un désengagement durable, mais je pense que dans les 2 ou 3 prochaines années, il veut d'abord remettre de l'ordre dans ses affaires.
Vue d'Afrique, du lundi au vendredi de 15h à 16h, temps universel.
Exclusive to Africa at Play on Channel Africa. Teenagers in Sports with Neto Chemane.
15:16 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are live on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. Alternatively, worry not, you can reach us from anywhere you are online on channelafrica.co.za. Also available on SABC+. We now welcome to Africa at Play Karabo Mashele, a 15-year-old tennis player, to talk to us about her journey as a tennis player. Karabo, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Afternoon.
How are you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How has your day been so far?
Well, thanks, and you?
Now my day is good. Now that we have you on the line, I'm very excited. Thank you so much for joining us. When did you start playing tennis?
Pardon?
When did you start playing tennis?
At 17 February 2020.
Wow, you even know the exact date, the 17th of February in 2020. How was it on your first day on the tennis court?
I was like too scared, but and happy, and now I'm enjoying it.
Now you are enjoying it. Talk to us about what you enjoy so much about the sport of tennis. What is it that you like so much about it?
Because tennis can make you find friends easily, but not arguing each other. And yeah.
I like it when you say yeah. And who is one of the tennis players that you play tennis with in the same club?
Sorry?
One of the players that you enjoy playing alongside in your club?
Recently.
Is it? What's her style of tennis versus yours?
Pardon?
How does she play different from how you play? What is it that you like about her style of play?
I like her backhand, how he hit it.
When last did you play a game of tennis?
Last week.
Last week. How did it go?
Very well, and I enjoyed it.
Did you win the match?
Yeah.
What was the score?
All matches. We are playing the La Casa development trial, so I won all my matches.
Interesting indeed. And how do you feel when after winning a match, Karabo?
I feel so happy, and yeah.
You feel happy and excited.
I enjoy my pardon?
I'm saying you feel happy and excited when you win a match.
Yeah.
When is your next match?
Pardon?
When is your next match?
I don't know now.
Oh, you don't know as yet. And the school that you go to, what's the name of the school and what grade are you on?
Hamaskal Secondary School, and I'm in grade 10.
How is grade 10 treating you?
Yeah, Very well, good.
And how did it go with the mid-year exams?
When I tried my best, but went so well, good.
So we can count your name on the list of those that are going to grade 11 in 2026, correct?
Yes.
What's your favorite subject?
Technical
Your
science.
Technical science. What do you like about it?
Because I don't know what to say, but
You just like the subject.
yes.
All right, I got you. And if you're not playing tennis and you're not at school, what do you get up to?
I'm staying at home.
Or you just stay at home if you're not at school, if you're not playing tennis?
Yes.
And what do you do at home? Who are you with? Do you have siblings that you get to speak to, that you play with?
So I'm playing with my friends I'm just hitting the dry on the street.
I see. If you have just joined us, we are talking to our teenager in sport, a 15-year-old Karabo Mashele, who goes to Hammanskraal High School and is currently in grade 10. Looking forward to the new chapter in grade 11 in 2026. Karabo, talk to us about your coach, Coach Mpo. What kind of a coach is she?
She's intelligent and a good mother to us on the club. And she's motivating us to push ourselves.
And the last time you spoke to her, what did she say to you that got you motivated to even improve your game all the time you get to the tennis court?
Keep pushing and respect. I'm proud of you.
Interesting indeed. Karabo Mashele, who goes to Hammanskraal High School, a grade 10 learner who loves technical science, and she plays tennis. The last time she played, she won all her matches, so the future is indeed bright. Thank you so much, Karabo, for talking to us on Africa at Play. Have a good afternoon further.
Thank you.
That's how we wrap up our teenager in sport conversation with the 15-year-old girl, a tennis player from Hammanskraal who goes to Hammanskraal High School, and she's been playing tennis from the 17th of February 2020, so she's been in the game for a good 5 years. The future is bright indeed, especially after she won all the matches during the last time she played the game of tennis. Featuring Davido. Let's find out what is this exciting African sound all about. As you know, African music never disappoints, and it explains it very well why most Africans will tell you that music is therapy.
Exclusive to Africa at Play on Channel Africa. Teenagers in Sports with Neto Chemane. We get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am.
Tuned in to Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are based in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from anywhere in the world on channelafrica.co.za, also available on SABC+. Big ups to the Proteas of South Africa for winning the World Test Championship 2025 edition by beating Australia by 5 wickets. And it was a good game of cricket indeed. And it's good to see that South Africa and many other African countries continue to show the world what Africa is made up of. It has been a bit dry when it comes to different football matches taking place across the African continent and globally, with most of the leagues having concluded, and it will still pick up around August as teams are now experiencing the off-season and some have already started gearing up for the build-up season, building up to the new season. So we will continue to update you with matches that are taking place, friendly matches where teams are gearing up for the upcoming new season. But as it stands, it is now the time for the PSL promotional playoffs, where we've got Orbit College and Kazakh Stars fighting it all out against Cape Town City, that has been shown the new journey of the playoffs, where they've got to fight against these two clubs, and the one that accumulates most of the points will then be promoted back to the PSL, be it Cape Town City, as they have the experience of playing in the Elite League, or one of the two teams between Kazakh Stars, Vapfumeri from Limpopo, and Orbit College from Northwest. This is Africa at Play. We take a short break. When we come back, all things Africa at Play continues.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADEA, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, he is vying for the presidency of the African Development Bank, the AFDB. He positions himself as a fervent defender of economic integration and structural transformation on the African continent.
Well, I do believe that I have a 360 view of the development challenges in the continent, with my experience from both the supply side and the demand side. But more importantly, my vision is to bring on board all the stakeholders and to have a holistic approach for the development of the continent, and to develop partnership across the continent and outside the continent, bringing all the stakeholders together to work for one goal, is to make Africa great for life and livelihood of the African population.
African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Hawa wa Afrika Kusini wenye asili ya kizungu ambao wamepewa ukimbizi huko nchini Marekani. Je, nini chanzo cha wao kuomba ukimbizi nchini Marekani?
Wenyewe wajaomba ukimbizi. Kuna shirika fulani inaitwa AfriForum, shirika mbili za wazungu ambao wanatetea haki ya wazungu hapa, AfriForum na Solidarity. Hao walienda Marekani kufanya kampeni kusema kwamba wazungu wananyanyaswa hapa Afrika Kusini, na walivyofanya hiyo kampeni, serikali iweze kuwafuatilia kujua nini ambacho mnasema kwamba mnanyanyaswa.
Kuna namna ya wao kwamba wamepoteza uraia wa Afrika Kusini, na je, endapo Trump akamaliza muda wake madarakani, uhalali wao wa kuishi nchini Marekani ukoje?
Itakuwa vigumu, kifupi itakuwa vigumu wenyewe kupoteza uraia wao.
Darubini ya Afrika. 11 kamili hadi 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
15:30 Central African Time. A warm welcome to Africa at Play. If you have just joined us, we are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. Alternatively, you can access us from any corner of the world on channelafrica.co.za. We will be talking to Ayanda Matiti, talking about the generation of 1996 celebration through the sport of boxing and sport as a business in a short moment. But for now, let's take you to the live action of the ongoing PSL promotional playoffs between Orbit College and Cape Town City, the Citizens.
History stipulates that the top flight team tend to retain their status when the PSL playoffs come on around, but you never really know for sure, especially with Orbit College and Kazrick Stars acting as ambitious as ever. Vilakazi off to the right-hand side now. Orbit College go. A burst of speed down that side from Koto. Brings about a throw. Tiberi. Cape Town City emerge from a bit of a tricky and sticky spot. As for Jaden Rhodes, he scored a mightily useful 6 goals last season. He's only managed the 1 this past Premiership season, which goes to show that times have been tough for Cape Town City, especially in the goal scoring department. Tiberi to Koto again for Orbit College, growing into this contest now. Potsana. Some in this Orbit College group have played top flight football and some have never played top flight football before, so it's a good mix. Stolen well by Dondolo, however. Dondolo gets it again from Domingo, retrieves it. Asheen, Amato tries to stab it to Jaden Rhodes on the opposite side, but the pass didn't have the legs, and Koto certainly does for Orbit College. Thought about going left. He's taken it right again. Has Mabele. There's Potsana.
33 minutes of football has been played in a PSL promotional playoff match between Cape Town City, the Citizens, up against Orbit College from South Africa's Northwest Province. It's still 0-0 as it stands. As you've heard the commentator highlighting that historically the PSL team always retain their status out of these playoffs, and there's always mixed reactions and mixed feelings from the football-loving community talking about these playoffs, where other people are arguing, why don't you have a scenario where 2 teams are relegated and 2 teams are promoted? But hey, the playoffs also add that tension and drama to the game, but also an opportunity for the PSL outgoing team to test themselves against a team in the first division in case they end up having to play their football there. And those ones that are coming from the first division, they are able to test their strength against a team that has been playing in the elite league. And it's always amazing to witness who then makes it up in terms of collecting maximum points out of the playoffs tournament. We've got some voice notes on our topic of the day where we're talking about nicknames in football, and especially on the African continent, there's quite a number of popular nicknames: Midnight Express, Helman Mkelele, who is now the Bafana assistant coach, who was part of the class of 96, Dr. 16 Valve Kumalo, and the likes of John Lesiba, Shoes Moshwewu. As you would know, when he walks it on the field of play, everyone would just go, Shoes. May his soul rest in peace. Let's take some of the voice notes. One from Tabolitsiri, a SAFA under-17 strength and conditioning coach. Let's find out what are some of his favorite nicknames of all times and what impact did they have in the game. If you want to drop us your thoughts, the number is +27 63 406 9126.
Neto, my brother, you're taking me back to the days of Pumuzo Manenze, the bold and the beautiful. Back to the days of Pond and Silence, Tepezan. Back to the days of Tiko Mudis when he was still at Pirates. You know, he was navigator. And then later on, he was called Donna. You know, take me back to the days of, what's his name? There's so many of them, man. There's so many of them. Jerry's Kosana, Legs of Thunder. You know, you take me back to the days of Joseph Dugu Makanya. You take me back to the days of Jabu Shuffle Pule. When football was everything under the sun. When football was all about the passion, not the paycheck. When football was each and every one's of us first love. Wow.
Interesting indeed to realize that we've taken the football-loving fans back to the old days of the likes of Jerry Legs of Thunder's Kosana. Interesting indeed. Let's take another voice note from Yusuf Vivieri, originally from Tanzania but based in South Africa, a player agent.
Good afternoon, good evening, Africa at Play. How we used to idolize our idols, like people who used to come in the football field with a passion, and they're there to entertain. Big names, man, big names. I remember I was so fond with one Kaiser Chief midfielder, Tabomuki Tiki Tiki. I used to love that nickname. Oh my God, man. Yes. And another one, I think it was Frederick Stanton Stiger and Emmanuel Scarangobese. Oh my God, man. Those are nice nicknames, like you follow. But I remember even back in Tanzania, come on, we used to have like nice nicknames, like for example, can I say, for example, there's a people that they call nicknames, like Michael Paul. They used to call him Nylon because he was in the midfield there, number 8. The way that he'll receive that ball and the way that he'll give out that pass and the way that he'll be moving is like a nylon. So they used to call him Nylon, Then we had another one, Marotha Soma. We used to call him Ball Juggler. The way he used to juggle with the ball, like he can take you from this crossover to that crossover. The way he's going to juggle with the ball and leave you like, eating the grass while he was going and hit the target and score or something. So, yes, man, lovely things, man. Hey, Neto, big up, man. African Play. We love soccer. Soccer for the love of the people and unite people. Big up. Yusuf Ivere, Johannesburg.
15:38 Central African Time. Thank you to those that have shared their voice notes with us on our topic of the day. You can still do so. It's never too late. The number is +27 63 406 9126. Youth Month is the month of June in South Africa and celebrated across different parts of the African continent. Happy Youth Month to South Africa, to the African continent, and to the global youth. We're now getting into an exciting Youth Month conversation with Ayanda Matiti, where we will be talking about a celebration of the 1976 generation through the world-class boxing. And it will be interesting to find out when it comes to the youth bout, who are these up-and-coming fighters that will be part of this celebration. It will be taking place on the 29th of June, just towards the month end, and we will also be talking about all things sport as a business. Ayanda is the businessman and a boxing promoter. Mr. Matiti, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Afternoon, Neto Africa. Afternoon to your viewers and listeners as well.
Thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play. Let's kick off the conversation with just a great thought that counts back many years back, 1976 generation, celebrating them through world-class boxing. Talk to us about this idea, what triggered this idea, and why is it important to continue celebrating our fallen heroes?
Well, it's one of the historical facts that a generation of learners gathered and wanted to frown decisively on an instrument of instruction which was called Afrikaans, used in learners in high schools as a medium of instruction. So they could not relegate their responsibility and allow other people to take up that battle. Consequently, fast forward, the 1976 struggles through that generation and the battle that they fought led to, amongst other things, the negotiations in South Africa, Kotesa 1, Kotesa 2, and ultimately a South Africa where you and me have a right to cast a vote of who should govern and lead us in South Africa. So it's important when the country at the helm of government notes and celebrate that historic generation, that we ourselves in the boxing fraternity, or rather as different stratas of society, bow to those heroes and heroines. So we took a view that would annually recognize these leaders and boxers in their majority are between the ages of 18 and 35. It's those boxers that are beyond 35 that are very few, but in the bigger pool of boxers they fall within that ambit. And you would remember that the learners who took up baton and fought that battle were even less than 18 because they were at high school. So we felt in our own way, let's recognize and pull together a multiple international boxing event which will feature South Africans against global athletes. That is why we took a sitting South African champion who's highly ranked, Landile Mentaunxeke, and we pitted him against a Mexican boxer whose ring name is called the Pitbull. So because Nxeke is not only a South African champion, he's the WBO Intercontinental champion. He's defending his title, but we also spoke to the president of the IBF and reminded him that his father, when he was president of the IBF, approved when South Africa was affected by sanctions, approved the IBF world title for Welcome Nita, Prior Democracy and Freedom. So we would then contextualize the significance of the day that we're remembering and recognizing. And he too spoke to his sanctioning committee to approve an IBF international title for these two fighters. So it's multiple fights for two athletes that are headlining the event, and we're excited about it. There are also other fighters. There's a South African title fight for the minimum weight division, which is the strawweight, against two females. A champion is from East London, Tanzania. A challenger is from Western Cape. We also spoke to the leadership of the WBC through its Africa chapter to say there's a sitting South African champion, Asanda Ginqi, There's a boxer who has beaten almost 3 South African guys, who's Rashid. He's from Tanzania. He has beaten the likes of Vekeka and others. We said avail your APU Africa title for these 2 young athletes to exhibit their talent in commemoration and celebration of the youth, or rather the generation of 1976. Also that Will Body agreed. So that's the bill that we put together, and other boxers that are to fight for the South African title fights. After these fights, we pull them together as well, 6 rounders. That's the summary of the activation that is meant to recognize that generation. Sorry.
If you have just joined us, we are talking to Mr. Ayanda Matiti, a businessman and a gentleman who's devoted his life to the sport of boxing as a promoter. And he was just taking us through the importance and the significance of celebrating the fallen heroes, but also an exciting bill in that celebration where through world-class boxing, a celebration of the 1976 generation will be witnessed in the boxing ring. And Mr. Matiti, I'm just looking at how exciting nicknames are. Let's talk about these nicknames, but also the impact that they have in the sport. And it's not just in boxing. Earlier on, we were talking about these nicknames in football, especially on the African continent, where you've got nicknames galore. And I'm just looking at the likes of Landile Ngxeke, who is man down, and Eric Pitbull Gamboa. There's also Tony AK-47, Rashid. There's Asanda Dynamite Gingli. There's also Tobela Mawawa Nyanda, Yonelisa Big Deal Pony. Just your thoughts on these nicknames in boxing, where you know this nickname carries an important role, because even when the bill is out, a lot of times these nicknames are mentioned in the bill.
Well, I'm not a specialist because I'm not the one who's naming them, but I understand, almost understand their significance. You would remember. When someone is called man down, you are trying to imagine, because that's a boxing ring, it's a 4-square boxing ring, and people are fighting. It's a contact sport. Man down has had the majority of in his fights knockouts, has won by knockout, and apparently there was this one fan who's closer to him. He will always say, Look at that. The man is down. So that's how he then emphasized whenever he won his fights, that if man down is fighting, or if Landile is fighting, a man is bound to fall. So he then was called man down. A pit bull is one of the most dangerous dogs. I once had it. Not now. My kids want it, but I would never agree. But my father had that dog for me, but we disengaged it. It's a very dangerous dog. It has precision. It's consistent. It has memory. If you miss giving it food, then the likelihood is that you may subject yourself to a serious crisis. So we're told that this guy Eric Gamboa is a Mexican pit bull. He's not the only pit bull in Mexico. There is another one. So I guess fans would always, either fans or trainers or corners or managers will, when they look at how boxers fight, they will always imagine something that they would have, or an experience that they would have had, and that's how a ring name is then given to a boxer. Other boxers, because of different champions that have won, have been multiple world champions, and then a boxer, when he idolizes this boxer and he boxes like him, so he then gets named after him.
Let's talk about preparations for the 29th of June. How are preparations going for this celebration of the 1976 generation through world-class boxing?
Well, I can safely say that all is in order now. What is outstanding, I would say it's just normalities, activations, marketing. We had to deal with a logistical nightmare, of course, because Mantown fell ill. He was booked off by the doctor for 4 days, and we're now to alter. Because he's a boxer, he's a warrior, he felt there's nothing wrong with him fighting on the 20th. And from the point of view of us who are preparing the event, who are managing his career, and who have invested in this business, because Mantown is highly ranked by major world bodies, number 3 in the WBO, 4 in the IPF, and 7 in the WBC. We felt that he's being casual about it. I want him to recover the days and make sure that when he gets into the ring, 100% healthy. So we moved the fight back by a week. So it's on the 29th of June, within the month that we're celebrating. So because we already issued the Mexican tickets through our traveling agent, we had to then change the tickets for the current dates, that as if that was not enough, in the team that was coming, another person was going elsewhere. So we're still managing that, but we'll manage it pretty well. We'll also use this opportunity to launch our podcast, our Klopper podcast, and launch it as a build-up of this celebration of this historic generation, because every generation will define its mission, and upon each and every generation being remembered, the likelihood is that there will be innovations, born will be new ideas, fresh ideas, and in our context as a brand, with our sister organization, Klaba Academy, Klaba Promotions, we've then taken a view that we need to have and host our own boxing podcast. So we'll be launching it as a build-up towards, fight.
Mr. Ayanda Matiti is a boxing promoter and a businessman. Mr. Matiti, what are your thoughts on sport as a business, especially boxing?
It will be a discussion for another day. Look, sport, the South African boxing economy, it's quite, it requires no child's play. It's quite, it requires someone with thick skin. It requires someone who's holistic, someone who would do 3 things: develop boxing, use sport as an instrument for tourist attraction and social cohesion, but use sport as a business as well. So you've got to master the 3, and more often than not, there will always be 1 or 2 lacking in the 3. So you've got to be tried and tested and mature over time. So you don't need someone who's excited in this game, because in our context, boxing is the only sport that is governed through an act of parliament. So we need to appreciate and understand the framework, and understand how, if we're imagining sport boxing at the level of PSL, at the level of La Liga League, how should we get there without compromising or distorting the current status quo? So it's quite an all-in. It will require those that have got passion. It will require those that have got foresight. It will require capital and corporate to also take part in reconnecting boxing with its historical glory in South Africa. And I'm saying now, our boxers are playing the part because they are winning these international titles. Our promoters are delivering averagely good events. They could be better. We could do better. Business is not coming into the party. In different parts of the country, government is coming. So we need everybody to ensure that boxing or this giant is reawoken.
That's the voice of Mr. Ayanda Matiti, a boxing promoter and a businessman, talking to us about the upcoming 1976 celebration through world-class boxing. And that tournament will be taking place on the 29th of June, where there's fighters from different parts of the world, including our very own continent, Africa, and a fighter from Mexico. Pitbull, it's his nickname. Mr. Matiti, thank you so much for an awesome conversation with us. All the best, and thank you for your contribution to the sport of boxing.
It's always a pleasure, Nate. Thank you to your listeners as well.
Thank you indeed. 15:55 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play. As Deleli Siashaya. We take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
The Confederation of African Athletics, CAA President Mr. Hamad Kalkaba Malbon, talk to us about the state of athletics in Africa as it stands, and what picture are you looking at 5 years later?
Yeah, athletics in Africa is strong. We are able to organize our major events in time. Like this year, we will have the under-20 and under-18 African Championship in Nigeria. Next year, we will have the senior in Ghana. In 2027, we will go back to Algeria to organize the under-18 and under-20. And then 2028, we will have the senior championship in Gaborone in Botswana. Well, by this program, we can increase our performance. And at the same time, we are considering the fact that within the Police Federation, they are identifying young talent every year within their national program, within the scholarship championship. And so the athletics in Africa is in good standard.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa.
This is Africa at Play. A very warm welcome if you have just joined us. That was a song by Morikante that is titled Tatebola. And Morikante's place of birth is Kisidugu in Guinea. Born on the 29th of March 1950 and passed on at the age of 70. It is good years, fairly, of life, and we continue to celebrate these icons, these legends through music, and they left a very remarkable footprint through their music. It is a great legacy indeed. Let's go to Lusaka, Zambia, and welcome Namuchana, our correspondent from Lusaka, Zambia. So Namuchana, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Yeah, good afternoon, Neto, and good afternoon to all our listeners on the African continent and beyond.
Thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play. The Chipolopolo boys, the B team that played in the COSAFA Cup back home in Zambia. Your thoughts on their run?
Yeah, Neto, they are back home, and I can tell you that everybody is disappointed here. As much as we know that this was a locally assembled team, or the so-called side B, as you rightly put it. Everybody expected Wada and the Beston Chambers, the assistant coach, to go further in the tournament. And the Neto, you are aware that before they left this country, they promised the country that they were going to use COSAFA as something that was going to help them prepare for the upcoming CHAN tournament in Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. And the Wedson Nyirenda did say, we are going to make sure that we'll treat each and every game at COSAFA with the seriousness it deserves until we reach the finals and get the cup, because this is our target, and we are going to use it as a springboard as we prepare for the CHAN tournament. But unfortunately, they have been booted out. They failed to win a single game. In the first game, they were beaten by Comoros by a goal to nil, and they drew with Botswana the other day 3-0, and Zambia scoring their third goal through a penalty later on into the match. So a very disappointing result, because these are the players that people think will take over from the senior Zambia national soccer team players. But anyway, these are early days. Maybe they needed to gel together. They needed to know each other. They have been drawn from different clubs across this country. So we just give them time to see what they are going to do as they head to Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda for the CHAN tournament. Otherwise, a very disappointing result. Zambia, it is a country that has always lifted the COSAFA, and it has never had any difficulties playing at any COSAFA tournament. It is only this year that we have seen them struggle But for now, it's just a matter of wait and see, and we only hope that they have learned their lessons, they have seen where their weaknesses are, and are going to work on them before the CHAN tournament in East Africa.
And also, Sena Muchana, sometimes it's a blessing in disguise for a tournament like COSAFA not to win it ahead of a big tournament like the CHAN tournament, which is a continental spectacle that's coming up in August in East Africa. The three countries that will be co-hosting that you've mentioned, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, because then you do not go to that tournament thinking you have arrived, but you go knowing that there's a lot of hard work, and therefore you put on more work on the field of play versus if you had won the COSAFA Cup and you would think, no, we have arrived and therefore we can be able to win the CHAN tournament, and then you get embarrassed. So that's football for you. Let's give the team a moment to gel, considering that the national team coaches, the likes of Wada, Watson Nyirenda, former Kaizer Chiefs player, he never gets to spend more time with these kind of players. So let's give him a bit more of time to see what the future has in store. But you've rightfully said that the team still needs to gel. Let's talk about Keith Mwemba, the Football Association of Zambia president, who is currently in the USA for the FIFA meeting and the Club World Cup. Please tell us more.
Yeah, the new Football Association of Zambia president, Neto, this is Keith Mwemba, left this country the other day in the company of a Football Association of Zambia General Secretary Ruben Kamanga. They have gone to the United States where the Club World Cup is currently on and is happening. And before he left, he said they are going there to make sure that they learn one or two things. You are aware, Neto, that even as he's leaving a lot of issues behind. We have got a burning issue of some of the Zambia national soccer team players claiming that they haven't been paid for some time. The Football Association of Zambia, they owe them a lot of money in unpaid allowances. So, as much as he has gone to the United States, these are the issues that he has to come and sort out. And I can tell you here, Neto, that we did manage to talk to our sources within the Football Association of Zambia over the issue that has to do with the Zambia national soccer team players having refused to go and play those two friendly matches against Sudan and Tunisia in Morocco. Our sources at the Football Association of Zambia, they hinted to us, they told us, they said, look, players never refused to go to Morocco to go and take on Tunisia and Sudan in those two friendly matches. But what happened is that the Football Association of Zambia is broke. They didn't have the money to fly the team to Morocco. Otherwise, the true situation on the ground is that the Football Association of Zambia has no money, or it didn't have money at that time to assemble the team and fly it for those two friendly matches. So we don't know really who is telling the truth, because the president on the other side is accusing the players that they just refused to play as a result of them being owed a lot of money in terms of allowances by the Football Association of Zambia. But our sources at FAS are saying, look, there is no single player who refused to board the plane to go to Morocco for those friendlies. The fact is the Football Association of Zambia didn't have the money to assemble the team, later on fly the team to Morocco. And before he left for the United States, he addressed referees. There is another issue here in Zambia, Neto, where the Football Association of Zambia President Keith Mwemba revealed to the nation that a lot of referees are owed the money in unpaid match officiating allowances. So he said going forward, they'll make sure as an association that all the referees will be paid on time. Whatever outstanding allowances that they are owed will be paid to them. So there are a lot of issues. We only hope that as he comes back from the United States, where he's going to attend to FIFA meetings and just be part and parcel of the Club World Cup, he should be able to come and sit down and sort out a lot of these issues that have dogged the Football Association of Zambia for some time now. So we have a mountain of issues, and these issues won't just go away until someone somewhere has to sort them out, Neto.
We are talking to Namuchana, our correspondent based in Lusaka, Zambia, talking all things Zambian sport. So Namuchana, please do stay on the line. We take a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues as we zoom into the latest in Zambian sport.
Hey there, this is Palisa Tau, part of the dynamic duo that gives you on the move right here on Channel Africa from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Africa time. Well, it's with your help for the past 2 years that we have been a multi-award winning show.
Well, yeah, we're keeping it on the move in 2025. And yes, I'm the other half of the duo, Benjamin Mushatama, and we're going to keep you going with the great conversations. Turn it up.
Okay. On the Move comes back in 2025 to give you more of the content that made us a model and to deliver that bold, boundary-pushing content that you love. And of course, giving you a ride through the 3 hours of news, views, and entertainment.
Every weekday from 9 to midday Central African time, right here on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Cool.
Let's go.
The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
The Shy Guy, a Morning Switch.
Have you ever listened to a song and then it gives you goosebumps? Cause it takes you way back in the 80s. My goodness. Hey baby. You hear Yvonne Chaga Chaga there. I wanna talk to the DJ. And then the DJ goes like, hey baby, I've got you on the other side. Huh? There were no WhatsApps then, right? There were no sliding in the DMs at the time. Oh man.
Your weekend mornings are activated with the Shy Guy on the Morning Switch. 180 minutes on the world of sports and music. That's Africa at Play with Neto Chemane on Channel Africa from an African perspective.
16:12 Central African time. This is Africa at Play, the best sport show on the continent and globally. We're talking to Namuchana, our correspondent based in Lusaka, Zambia, talking all things Zambian sport. So Namuchana, thank you for staying on the line. It is disturbing that the Chipolo Polo team was unable to board to a flight to Morocco for the important international friendlies when we've witnessed other national teams across the African continent play in different friendlies. Bafana played against Mozambique, they played against Taifa Stars Tanzania, and unfortunately Chipolo Polo couldn't play. First it was reported that the players didn't want to go onto that flight, stating that they are being owed money, and the latest came out that actually there was no such, but the Mara Body of Football in Zambia, FAZ, does not have the money to make things happen. Yet the president, Keith Mwemba, made it to a flight to the United States of America. How does this thing work? You've also mentioned that referees, there's also a challenge there where some of their salaries have not been paid for a period of time. I think it's about time that Zambian football goes through a comprehensive football indaba where all football stakeholders can come into one room, including the corporate world, so that all these issues could be ironed out, because we still have an Avram Grant scenario of no payments, Wada Wada scenario of no payments, and many other football scenarios of no payments in Zambia. Your thoughts?
Yeah, very unfortunate, Neto, that we find ourselves in this situation, that the motherboard of football, and that is the Football Association of Zambia, is even failing to assemble a team that can go and play a friendly match or friendly matches out there. We saw Nigeria taking on the likes of Russia. We saw Senegal beating England in England by 3-1. We saw South Africa taking on the Taifa Stars and Mozambique. But here it is a different scenario. The Football Association of Zambia had actually organized 2 friendly matches, one against Sudan and the other one against Tunisia. But when that time came for the players to board the plane to head out to Morocco, it couldn't happen. The Football Association of Zambia quickly, just to save face, they organized that press briefing where our sports journalists were invited, and the president himself even came out guns blazing, accusing the Zambia national soccer team players of one-patriotism, and he threatened to say, look, we are going to the African Cup of Nations, and I'm not going to condone indiscipline. It is better we go with a lean team which is disciplined. But it has turned out that from our sources we are saying, look, this is not a true reflection of what is happening at the Football Association of Zambia. Let them be truthful enough. There's no money here. They just failed on their own. We need to do things better, Neto, if we were to move forward. And the issues to do with the referees, for example, it all started because, Neto, you are aware that the referees in Zambia, at some point, they used to belong to an association called the Referees Association of Zambia, RAZ. They had their own association, they had their own president, they had their own general secretary, they were running their own affairs. All these issues of unpaid allowances were not there. But the constitution was changed, where the Referee Association of Zambia, they were co-opted and they were made to be part and parcel of the Football Association of Zambia, and the referees manager was appointed, and the man was told, you'll be working right here at the Football Association of Zambia. So if they didn't disband the Referees Association of Zambia to co-opt them into FAS, all these issues wouldn't have been there. Even as I'm talking to you now, in trying to sort out of this mess, they have appointed a new man to take charge. He's a new referees manager. He was just appointed the other day, and we don't know what he's going to do. So, like other people have been saying, the Football Association of Zambia has a lot on its plate. It is high time they delinked the referees from the Football Association of Zambia cable. Let the referees go back to the old way, the way they were doing things. They had the Referees Association of Zambia. This idea of trying to make sure that the referees should fall under the umbrella of the Football Association of Zambia. No wonder the country is experiencing all these problems, because the referees now, they are being paid by the Football Association of Zambia themselves, and this is an association that is struggling financially right now. They are failing to balance up their books. It's extremely unfortunate, Neto, and at no point did I ever think that we were going to have such a scenario where FAS is even failing to pay the Zambia national soccer team players, let alone the people who make sure that the players follow the rules on the pitch. It's extremely unfortunate. We only hope that a quick interval, or maybe just like a meeting of some sort, will be convened by the Football Association of Zambia, where all stakeholders will be invited to say, come, let's sit on a round table, let's discuss our problems, let's find the way forward, and how do we come out of this quagmire where we find ourselves, and going forward, how can we make money of our own other than relying on government funding. So these are the issues that a chief member and his new executive, they'll need to tackle head on. Otherwise, I'm not seeing them personally succeeding if they are just going to take the same route that his predecessor took. Otherwise, it is a sad scenario. at no point, Neto, did Zambia fail to play friendly matches. I think we can do better than this.
16:19 Central African Time. We still have Namuchana from Lusaka, Zambia, talking all things Zambian sport. So Namuchana, please do stay on the line. When we come back, we will be getting onto the topic of the day, as we would like to listen to the remaining voice notes with Namuchana, who got to speak to pundits of football in Zambia. Simata, who is the former Football Association of Zambia president, and Musonda Chibulu, a sport analyst. This is Africa at Play. Asteleli Siashai.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
In recent weeks, East Africa has seen a disturbing rise in human rights violations. In Kenya, digital activist Rose Njeri was arrested under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act after creating a tool for citizens to oppose the Finance Bill 2025. Meanwhile, in Tanzania, Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi and Ugandan lawyer Agatha Atuhaire reported being detained, tortured, and sexually assaulted by security officers.
East Africa needs a reset. We need to get back East Africa to where the founding fathers are. You know, when President Nyerere and his colleagues Jomo Kenyatta and the Ugandan counterparts fought for independence, they fought for independence to get Africans out of poverty, to get Africans out of slavery. The leaders who took up power have since gotten into regression.
Neto Agostino, co-leader of the United Green Movement Party.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e João Yabalá.
O surto da cólera em Angola tem causado grande preocupação, afetando já mais de metade das províncias do país. Simultaneamente, a Agência dos Estados Unidos para o Desenvolvimento Internacional, USAID, um dos maiores doadores mundiais de assistência humanitária, decidiu não priorizar os países com maior incidência de malária. Para discutirmos as causas do alastramento da cólera em Angola e os impactos dessa decisão da USAID, convidamos o Dr. Jeremias Agostinho, médico e mestre em saúde pública, para partilhar a sua visão sobre o tema.
A doença, nesse momento, representa o maior risco de saúde pública que nós temos. Nos últimos anos, a nossa preocupação esteve sempre centrada com os casos de malária, os casos de tuberculose e também de infecção por VIH-Sida. A forma como, em pouco menos de 2 meses, os casos de cólera vêm aumentando, acaba por representar, nessa altura, um dos maiores desafios que o país tem. É expectável que, nesta fase, o número de casos venha a aumentar.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio do Canal África.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
16:22 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play, live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. Alternatively, you can access us from anywhere you are online on channelafrica.co.za, also available on SABC+. Please do get in touch with us on our different social media platforms. On Instagram and X is at Channel Africa 1. And on Facebook, the name of our station, Channel Africa. If you have missed out on any of our conversations, please do visit our Channel Africa website. Click on programs and search for Africa at Play. At the bottom right screen of Africa at Play, you can be able to access those conversations, and by all means, you can listen to them when you have time to do so. We're wrapping up our conversation with Namuchana from Lusaka, Zambia, our correspondent in Southern Africa, as we go through the voice notes of those that have shared their thoughts with us on our topic of the day, where we're talking about how big nicknames are in football, especially on the African continent. And there's a long list of nicknames, including Helman Mkalele, Midnight Express, John Lesiba Mushwewu, Shoes, and Dr. 16 Valve Kumalo. The list is endless. Mbesuma, who was nicknamed Ntofo during his days at Kaizer Chiefs, and it's a long list of these nicknames. So Namuchana, you got to speak to the pundits on this, and I was listening to this conversation with Sesimata and Musonda Chibulu, listing out the importance of these nicknames and the impact they have on the game. Let's take one more voice note from Bongani Chuma.
Good afternoon, Neto, and the listeners. This is Bongani from Lenasia. Neto, great show as always, and thank you very much for bringing this topic up, because we fell in love with some of these superstars because of their nicknames that they were called. When you talk of shoes, Dr. Kumalo, 16V, it's one of those players that always comes to mind. But you'll remember Abianale, the sole provider. He was turning like he had no bones, the man. The provider, the assist that he used to provide. You'll remember all you need is love, Lerato Shavango. And right now he needs more love more than anything from South Africans. These are some of the nicknames that always comes to mind. Sheikhs, Kungwane, Sheikhs, Mashava. Those are some of the names. How can I forget Troublemaker, Jomo Sono, man. Troublemaker, the greatest of them all. Thank you, Neto.
It is undoubtedly a topic that will take you back to those days where one used to witness great legends who are now legends, but during their playing days having these exciting nicknames. So, Namuchana, who are some of the nicknames that are still stuck in your mind that you've witnessed through this game called football?
Yeah, our listener there, Bongani, just refreshed my mind. And how could I have forgotten one of my favorite men on the African continent, Jomo the Troublemaker Sono, one of the greatest men in terms of football on the African continent. Neto. Here in Zambia, we have had a lot of them, though, like you rightly put it there, we can spend the whole day talking about these guys and their nicknames, even clubs here in Zambia. Neto, I'll tell you that each club has got its own nickname. You are talking of a Power Dynamos. The Power Dynamos is nicknamed a Power 90. This comes as a result of them winning the CAF Cup in 1990. So they were given that name, a Power 90. You are talking of clubs like Cabo Warriors. They have been nicknamed Magnificent because they used to play beautiful football, and they used to wear nice jerseys, blue and white, and soccer fans just named the team Magnificent Cabo Warriors. A talk of Lusaka Dynamos, it was named the Yama-Colored, meaning the owner of Lusaka Dynamos that time, he was a colored guy. So the soccer fans in Zambia saw it fit to name Lusaka Dynamos Football Club Yama-Colours, meaning the club for coloreds, because the owner of Lusaka Dynamos at that time, he was a colored. But coming back to the names, I think here we have had very interesting names, like Musonda Chibolo said there. We had one of our best goalkeepers, the late James Perry, and you can imagine he was nicknamed Ringo Perry by the soccer fans. After that, he failed haste because there was a guy who staged an armed robbery, and he managed to hijack the Bank of Zambia truck that was carrying money from the Copper Belt to Lusaka, and he did get away with a lot of money, and his name was Ringo Perry. And when James Perry came to the fore at the 1994 African Cup of Nations, somehow the soccer fans gave him that name, James Ringo Perry. So whether that name sat with him well or he didn't like it, but it stuck with him for a very long time until he passed on. So you couldn't just call him James Perry. You had to insert that name, James Ringo Perry, and he got that name from that man of 1994 who staged one of the greatest robberies here in Zambia. So we are talking of players like Tenant Chilumba himself, very popular amongst the soccer fans here in Zambia. You know, Tenant was one of the players who really shined at the 1994 African Cup of Nations. At that time, when they came back from Africa, they came out second. The Zambian government thought, look, it would be wise for us to reward the team, and each player was given about 10,000 a quarter that time, and it was a lot of money. It was just a lot of money in 1994, and Tennant went on to buy himself a Toyota Hiace bus, but the same week that he bought it, he crashed it out of excitement, and the soccer fans, he called him a careless millionaire. And even up to date, he is a coach, but that name, it is still stuck with him. We had a player like Axon Shimbala. This is the man that all the Zambian soccer fans loved to go and watch, because whenever he had the ball, he had a powerful shot, such that every time he was hitting the ball, he could rip the net. He had so much power in his legs, so the soccer fans saw it fit, and they just nicknamed him a Scud missile. And you know that time, I think Russia was making and producing a missile called Scud missile. So these are names that we have grown up with, and they were making a football very exciting. I remember Neto every time would go to the stadium, for example. I remember the first time going to the Independence Stadium here in Zambia to go and watch the Zambia national soccer team. Every time Kalusha Walia had the ball, everyone would just stand and shout, "Kalu, Kalu, Olusha, Olusha." It was so nice to watch football. But nowadays it is a different thing. We have got bands now. Teams go and they hire a dancing troupe or maybe a band. They'll just be playing music inside the stadiums. The soccer fans are seated. They're just watching. Nobody is shouting, or nobody is calling any player by his nickname, just as a way of encouraging them. I can't just wait as Africa that we should go back to those days where you long to go and see the players like the Boo himself, Daniel Amokachi. We just have to go back. A football was so nice to watch, knowing that you are going to see Midnight Express, and you just shout Midnight Express other than just mentioning his full names, Helman Machelele. So we just need to go back, Neto. There are no two ways about it. These nicknames made our players to give it all. They loved their names. They would play their lines out. They would entertain their fans, and it made the football worthwhile watching.
16:32 Central African Time. That's the voice of Namuchana from Lusaka, Zambia, our correspondent, reflecting on the importance and the impact of nicknames in football, especially on the African continent. We still have more voice notes. Let's take Mokete Tumisi from the west of Johannesburg in Kagiso.
Afternoon, Mr. Chemane, and to your listeners as well. Yeah, hey, those were the days, my man. We had names like Tapelo Diawu. They used to call him Abuti Bulabutu, Joseph Makanya, Togo Togo, Sense of Knowledge, Lekwani Obri. Yeah, those were the names. I used to watch those guys playing, and some of them saw me playing as well. Yeah, but then those were the days, eh? If I can tell you that a small boy given somebody's nickname, they would showcase their talent. You would see that this boy wants to go somewhere and he wants to be called by that nickname. Yeah, those were the days, my man. Yeah, thank you.
I like how everyone is referring to those were the days as if there are no current nicknames in football. Interesting indeed. Let's take one more voice note from Apiwe Ngwenya. We still have Namuchana on the line.
Hi Africa Play, this is Apiwe Ngwenya. There are a number of nicknames that we know that footballers are given. I mean, you even have the Lucas Khatebe, Rue, but for me, the one that really stands out has to be 10-111. You know, for Kaizer Chiefs legend Arthur Zwane, for me, 10-111 is everything. I mean, I don't even think you have to ask the story behind it, but I think just know that if your team is backed up against the wall, you need an emergency, you need help, Others will be there and, he'll get the results for you. So I think for me, undoubtedly, 10-111, Others one.
16:34 Central African Time, 10-111 for Apiwe Ngwenya, that is Athazwanu Mangete, and you would know 10-111 represents the police services. So when they call 10-111, you know there is trouble coming your way. Let's take one more voice note from Charles Cicero, and we will wrap up with Namuchana after this voice note.
Good day, sports fans. Charles here from Naturina, South Africa. Thank you, NETO, for the opportunity. Thank you, Africa at Play. Yes, I can remember so vividly the nickname Den Dens Maisela and also Ernest Waya Chirwali. That was one of my favorite nicknames, and I even emulated the player in my young days and assumed the same nickname because he was powerful with a shot, left footer. I was powerful with a left foot. And yes, it just brings back memories. And then Dance Maisela because he was dancing them silly all the way on the floor. And who can forget Nelson Teenage Tlatla? So, those were players that were very fluent and very influential in the game. Thank you for taking me down memory lane. Thank you, Africa at Play. Enjoy a blessed Saturday of sport.
A blessed Saturday of sport. That's Charles Cicero sharing his thoughts on the topic of the day, where we are talking and reflecting to the nicknames in football, especially on the African continent. Senamuchana also highlighted an interesting one, that where a player is nicknamed Careless Millionaire because of how he spent his money from what he had received from the mother body of football, saying, let's celebrate these players because of their run at the 1994 Africa Cup of Nations in Tunisia, where Zambia finished second, and in no time that money was gone. You buy a car, one moment it's crashed while it's still new, and soccer fans coming out saying Careless Millionaire. So Namuchana, as we wrap up, what touched your mind from the voice notes that we've played?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to listen to Charles Cicero there and our lady Apiwe Ngwenya. A very insightful. Neto, it is what has really touched me is that all our listeners, they are all in unison. They are saying one thing, that we have taken them down memory lane. This is good, and we have refreshed their minds. And you can see the importance of nicknames in football. These are names that would make the soccer fans to want to go to the stadium, to go and watch, to go and shout that nickname of their favorite player. So it is. I think we need to revisit some of these things, and it is good that Neto, we as Channel Africa, we have managed to refresh their memories. We have taken them down memory lane. They are able to recall some of the nicknames of their favorite players, and this is the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to make sure that as Africa, we have our own style. We know that even in Europe, some players, they have nicknames, but there are no better nicknames like the names you find on the African continent when it comes to football. Before you let me go, Neto, I can tell you that our coach here in Zambia, George Elwandamina, was nicknamed Chicken George, because every time before he shoots the ball, he would scratch his boots on the playing surface like a chicken. So that is how that name was given to him. Even up to now, when he goes for interviews, either on TV or radios, or is giving interviews to the print media, he loves that name. He doesn't even say no. Even the papers, they would write George Chicken Luandamina. So you can see that it is out of such names that soccer fans, they really love such people. Okay, a lot of players who were nicknamed by soccer fans, they ended up having that natural love, that connection with the soccer fans. I think Africa does things in a unique way, and we have to go back to the way we used to do things. Let's not copy from other people. Yes, football has evolved, and now we are living in a new age, in a new era, but please, let's maintain the way we've been doing things here. I remember in 1998 when Zambia played South Africa at the FNB Stadium in Johannesburg, and that was the World Cup qualifier for France 98, and South Africa beat Zambia 3-0. Every time Mark Fish had the ball, the entire FNB Stadium would go like fish. So you can see, and we were watching here in Zambia, every time they would shout his name, Fish, you could see the confidence that he had. You could see the zeal, the determination that the guy gave it all. So we just have to go back to the way we do things as Africa. Let's maintain our style. This is what will make our football prosper.
Namuchana, our legendary correspondent from Lusaka, Zambia, and that's how we wrap up our conversation as we were looking into the latest in Zambian sport. So Namuchana, as a parting shot from my side, as you're going back to the field to find out more about the latest under Football Association of Zambia, perhaps you can throw a question to find out that if the association is bleeding cash challenges and was unable to fly the team to go to Morocco for the 2 friendlies in North Africa, why didn't they opt for hosting those nations in Zambia? Because then it is a reasonable exercise to do so. Thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neto. I don't think it was going to be even more cheaper, because for you, Neto, to host foreign teams, it means you'll have to pay for their air tickets, accommodation, and everything. So I think it wasn't even a cheaper option for them. So the cheaper option was to make sure that they come up with a plan, or just an excuse and lump it on the players to say they've refused to go to Morocco. But Neto, one thing I wanted to say here as an appeal, all the Zambian soccer fans who have listened to our program, they're saying, please, would like you in future to also look at clubs, some of the nicknames that clubs on the African continent they have, or they have always had.
Indeed, that's our next move, and we also need to look into the nicknames in boxing, because we had boxing conversations earlier, and it's just interesting the kind of nicknames you find there, the likes of Pitbull, and you would know how perilous that dog is. Once someone is nicknamed a Pitbull, it means he's a dangerous boxer indeed, but it's all in the name of fun as well, just how these nicknames come about. Thank you so much, my good sir. We will definitely look into that.
Thank you so much, Neto, for having me. Thank you.
16:42 Central African Time, a song by Tiwa Savage featuring Ira Star titled Gara. And after the song, we will bring you the latest sports news.
Uba, what am I say?
Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepu Kholikweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Peter Mengubene talks money. Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Muteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Luna
African time. It is that time of the afternoon where we are inquisitive to find out what's coming up on Mix Vibration. I've got my June baby brother here, that is Jolene Nsungu, who will be growing one more year on Tuesday, the 17th of June. Joyeux anniversaire.
Joyeux anniversaire, happy birthday to you, Neto, as well, who will be born soon, like me, in June. So it's going to be great. Aujourd'hui, sur Mix Vibration, nous demandons à nos auditeurs de rester connectés. Nous aurons une panoplie de musique comme d'habitude. Ça sera merveilleux. Et nous aurons aussi notre invité spécial qui nous vient de Kimberley. Et avec elle, on va discuter de l'entrepreneuriat. On va parler de ce qu'elle fait. Et beaucoup vont découvrir l'importance du partenariat encore au travers d'elle. Merci beaucoup. Ça sera Mix Vibration d'ici 17h. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. This is Channel Africa, broadcasting to the world in 5 languages, in English, Portuguese, Chinyanja, Kiswahili, and French. And of course, what is coming up is Mix Vibration in this beautiful language called French. It's time for Sports News, 1646 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. Kicking off with cricket news. Themba Bavuma has been hailed for his heroic innings at Lords, which has brought South Africa to within touching distance of a maiden World Test Championship mace. Bavuma batted through visibly excruciating pain after it was confirmed that he suffered a left hamstring strain early in the Proteas' second innings and hobbled to an unbeaten 65 at the end of Day 3 against Australia on Friday. Prince says Themba's never-say-die attitude says a lot about him, and this particular moment will cement his place in history.
It says a lot. It's not done yet, but as you say, he's had to fight throughout his career, and this could be a defining moment for his career, I believe. It's the biggest stage in terms of Test cricket. Maybe I should answer the question after the game.
South Africa beat Australia by 5 wickets in the World Test Championship final to end their long wait for a major global title. The Proteas had resumed their second innings on 213 for 2 and needed 69 runs to wrap up a victory on Day 4 at Lords. Australia captain Pat Cummins struck in the third over of the day to dismiss opposite number Themba Bavuma, caught behind for 66, to inject a semblance of belief. Then, with 41 runs required, Mitchell Stark bowled Tristan Stubbs through the gate to cause a little more anxiety in the South African dressing room. However, Centurion Aiden Markram continued where he left off from the previous day as he put South Africa on the brink of victory with a superb 136. Markram, the only player to make 100 in the match, missed out on the chance to hit the winning runs when he flicked Josh Hazelwood into the hands of Travis Head at mid-wicket with the winning post inside. That left David Bedingham and Kyle Verreynne to see South Africa over the line. Verreynne stroking a drive-through to covers of Stark for a single seal it before raising his arms in a joyous celebration. South Africa's run chase was the joint second highest in Test cricket at the ground, battered only by West Indies' pursuit of 342 in 1984. They are third team to be crowned World Test champions after New Zealand in 2021 and Australia in 2023. Let's hear from Captain Themba Bavuma.
Special moment for the people back home. Probably it will really sink in a couple of days, but yeah, it's been special.
It's been well documented, the 27 years of heartache in ICC senior events. Have you felt that as a team? You could sense it around the crowd. They were willing you over the line today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the energy was there. I think obviously us as a team, we've been wanting this. We've been kind of knocking at that door, being relentless, getting ourselves into positions where we can be in finals. We've gone through the heartache, we've gone through the disappointment, seen it with past players who've come before us, and the sun is on us at the moment, and that responsibility we've been carrying it, and hopefully this is one of many.
You're unbeaten as captain. You are unbeaten as captain personally, but also in that team you have some serious players. Let's pick out two. One with the ball, KG Rabada. Before the game you said he would deliver. He certainly did again.
Yeah, KG is a massive player. A couple of days ago I went to the ICC Hall of Fame inductees. I think, in a couple of years KG will be one of those guys. Look, he came into the game, there was controversy behind him. He was motivated to do what he needed to do, and like a champion, he came and did what he did.
And Ada Markram, that run chase, coming in on a pair, in pressure, in a final at Lords. How good was he?
I think, a couple of months ago, people were asking why Aiden is in the team. I think stats, yes, are important, but character is something that we look at. And a guy like Aiden, he carries all those traits. We knew second innings we were going to have to come out and play, and he led it like in true Aiden fashion. So again, another massive player for us. Character has been a big thing for us as a team, and those two guys are the ones who carry that.
Do you feel the significance of this moment and this win for South Africa, not only as a nation, but as a cricket team where Test cricket is under pressure? Weeks like this are important.
Yeah, definitely. I think, us as a team, we got ourselves into the final. There were doubters as to the route that we took, supposedly playing wicket teams. We're happy that we were able to perform like this, and hopefully that kind of squashes that. And I think for us as a country, here's an opportunity for us to, as divided as we are at times, to forget all of that, rejoice in this moment, and just be one. I'm sure the people back home will be celebrating it with us, and you can trust that we'll be celebrating it massively as well.
Themba, you've waited long enough.
In basketball news, APR of Rwanda beat Al Ittihad of Egypt 123-90 to secure third place in the 2025 Basketball Africa League BAL season, setting a league record for the most points scored in a single game. APR was led by Axel Mboyo, who scored 32 points, including 10 three-pointers, setting a BAL record for the most threes in a single game. He surpassed the previous record of 9 set by Will Perry in 2023 while playing for Clube Ferroviário da Beira, CVF Beira of Mozambique. As a team, APR shot an impressive 55.3% from beyond the arc. Jason Randle contributed 17 points to the win. For Al Ittihad, Ibrahim Mohamed and Ahmed Ali Mohamed led the scoring with 20 and 19 points respectively. NBA legend Tracy McGrady, a 7-time NBA All-Star, 7-time LBA NBA selection, 2-time NBA scoring champion, and winner of the NBA Most Improved Player Award in 2021, says the game is growing on the African continent.
What a fine place. This will be a place that I'll be coming over probably multiple times out the year. So you'll see me around, more often. The game of basketball is growing globally. It's great talent here in Africa. As you see, we have great talent in our league and NBA. And we just want to continue to keep pursuing and developing and teaching the game on a global scale. A lot of talent here, man. And we just want to exhaust all the possibilities to make sure these guys have all the information they need to be as great as they could possibly be at playing the game of basketball. And that's what the NBA is all about. I say just being receptive to the information that you're getting and really understand that, you know, we're flying around the world, taking our time to come in and be here and give this knowledge. But we want to do it. You know what I mean? I think that's the most important thing. We want to be here. We want to, you know, and enhance the game. So a 13-year-old kid, just enjoy it, right? And be receptive to the information that you're receiving. Have fun. Yeah, so Dikembe, outside of, like, basketball and being a true professional, like, his impact on me was so big. He's the reason why I went to Darfur. He's the reason why I wanted to go to God's Beta and see, you know, the living conditions and how bad they were being treated over there. I felt compelled that I had to tell that story and make a documentary out of it. So, because we used to talk all the time about Africa and you know, those parts of Africa, the Darfur region, and he was like, Mac, we can have these conversations every day on this bus or on this plane, but you got to go see it for yourself. And as with anything, you know, you can have those conversations, but you don't get really the full impact of what's really going on. So I wanted to get on the ground and see it for myself, and it was a life-changing moment. The league is growing. Hopefully, you know, we continue to grow this league and the players continue to develop and get better, and we have more Africans in our league. You know, I've seen a couple games of the league when they come on NBA TV. I love some of the talent. I love what I'm watching. And we just got to, you know, continue to come over here, give the knowledge, give the training, and help these guys develop. So I recall Milwaukee being a small market. They just won a championship recently. I recall Golden State being a big market. And the reason they're not big markets no more because they got big fish over there like Steph Curry and Giannis. So small markets are winning now. You know, even Cleveland back when LeBron was there, small markets are winning. Miami is not a big market. They were winning back then. So I think, you know, times have changed in the NBA. Small markets are doing a great job of developing talent.
The Basketball Africa League final is currently underway and started at 4 p.m. Central African Time. A matchup between Al Ahly Tripoli of Libya and Petro di Luanda of Angola at the Sunbet Arena in Pretoria. Both teams are chasing history. Petro di Luanda aims to become the league's first back-to-back champion and the first ever two-time title holder. Meanwhile, a first-time participant, Al Ahly Tripoli, look to secure Libya's first BAL championship. And as it stands, Al Ahly Tripoli is leading Petro di Luanda by 41-38. 16:57 Central African Time. We wrap up with rugby news. After suffering the pain of failure in two previous United Rugby Championship URC Cup finals, it would be tremendously satisfying for the Bulls to taste what it feels like to get over the line when they face Leinster today at 6 p.m. Central African Time. Coach Jake White said the Bulls are hoping it will be third time lucky at Croke Park in Dublin after defeats against the Stormers in 2022 and Glasgow Warriors in 2024 in their previous URC Cup final appearances. After 294 matches, they are drawn in the last two survivors as Leicester and Bulls face off at Croke Park in the 2024-2025 United Rugby Championship final. It is 16:57 Central African Time, and that time it means it's time to say goodbye. But worry not, we will be back tomorrow from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. My name is Neto, Neto Chemane. Hosiati konyangazi mumka jwaphandle kunjani moyani vuguvugu tendele. A big thank you to our audio streams visuals team, that is Vutivi Hlongwane and Sebenzile Msindo, as well as our social media guru Dumisilema and my producer Andy Siwe Fakimalu Zobona Mali, as well as Catherine Chuchu TV Maleka, our technical operator. Africa at Play, as Delel Siashaya. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.